Futures shopping around here to start things off on a snowy Monday on the eastern side of the country anyways, and up into Canada. What a day we had here in Toronto yesterday. Record snowfall right across the board for the GTA. It seems a lot of people still going to be digging out this morning. The market, however, open and liking rare earths today. On a headline after the close on Friday, President Trump investing $1.6 billion, or the Department of Energy going to invest $1.6 billion into USA Rare Earths Incorporated, USAR to the upside in a big way. All of these, though, in this group catching quite a bid this morning. MP Materials to the upside. There's BNAI to the upside in a big way here after the close. You can see on Friday caught a bid on this headline as well. So we'll dig into that coming up. Monster week on the earnings side of things, the biggest of the big coming through. We'll touch on those coming up as well. Meta, Microsoft, Apple, all set to report on the mega cap earnings side of things. We'll get also, oh, by the way, a Fed decision coming up on Wednesday afternoon at 2 p.m. So few things happening this week. If you didn't check the economic calendar, the market could be a little bit volatile. So welcome in. Going to be a interesting kind of a day around here, as I think a lot of people are going to be a little bit on the slow side this morning. I don't know, guys. Obi's in for Neil this morning. It's great to have Joe back with us this morning as well after last week being off. Sean here also, guys. It was just unbelievable around here yesterday and this morning even. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good
I
morning.
feel like this morning I think was okay. I don't know.
Last night was a lot of shoveling.
Last night was, oh man. I feel like I was saying to Brendan, I think it was like 20 to 25 inches for sure in my area. Like I was shoveling, yeah, waist deep. Yeah, because I went to this side of the house to clear out the furnace, intake and outtake. And yeah, I couldn't even, like I was wearing my boots, were sunk completely rated. Oh, here, it wasn't, you know what, like I had to drive around yesterday because of my, my son. Here, I don't know, how can I make this a little bit bigger? It wasn't, but it's not that bad. Here. Can we show this, or there it is? Oh, I will. Nvidia, CoreWeave, okay. So anyway, this is what it looked like right here. Let's go over here and quickly have a quick look. But anyways, yeah, pretty violent day for sure. All right, there it is. So Nvidia invests $2 billion in CoreWeave. All right, so here we go, man. Like maybe this is not, is this one of those circular moves here? What are we talking about again? Because this is a continuous move here on CoreWeave, as you can see, with a nice move higher just in right now. We'll get the details about this, but thanks, Brendan. There it is, 2 billion CoreWeave Class A common shares. So Nvidia did this with Intel. They're doing it now with CoreWeave. There it goes, here to the upside. We'll figure out why. Is that just to keep the business afloat, or what's going on here? Because we know CoreWeave is a big purchaser of some of these Nvidia GPUs, but there it goes right up to 104, 105 again. On that note, you know, that could be a good opportunity to have a look here today. US Rare Metals, sorry, lifting the whole space, man. U is up. BNAI is up. MP is up. We're all ready to go here. I mean, I think Intel's going to be a trade, Obi. We were trading this obviously on Friday. I think both you and I were looking at this as well. Nice to the downside again, another 1.5%. Lucky enough that I was able to get out a little bit of that above $55, but that's moving around. Yeah, so CoreWeave, man, whoever bought the dip in there. You know what this is reminding me of? Maybe another possible buy the dip situation in ARM. Yeah. I mean, there's been a few names that have really gotten hit here in the space that continue to, you know, languish down to the downside. What is this doing to Nvidia's stock here today? 186 and change. So $2 billion, eh? Like, what is Jensen up to? Yeah. So he made the same kind of a play there, as I was saying, in Intel. Right. Looks like he's doing something now in CoreWeave. So there it goes, man.
Back from Intel, though, right? I think they said they were going to, and then
did they empty out of that position?
I think they might. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they might have pulled that one there. But CoreWeave seems like that's interesting. They're back up to 100. But USAR was one of my top picks last night. But
right. Okay.
Coming into the day today, like we got a strong, some strong selling there, 34s all the way to sub 30s. When I came in, we were trading in and around $30 here, and hit a low of 28 so far. So I'm curious to know. Let's see. This gap up was quite nice as well, but we're coming into some prior.
Why was USAR? When was that announced?
So I think there was stuff over the weekend.
Okay.
And then it was confirmed this morning in terms of like which part of the government is actually making that stake in.
So I was like, how did you predict it was going to happen overnight? And I was like, okay, it was looked at yesterday.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw silver again.
Yeah, of course.
Up another 4 points here today, 4%, 5% now, just starting to rip. It was just, it's because we get these, all right, our percentage points is going to be off a little bit because some of these dark pools are kicking in right now. But at the end of the day, it looks like we are going to be trading in and around $99 here on SLV. So we had that long breaking through 91 or something like that on Friday and rode that into the close. It looks like today will be another day for it. Wow, SLV, man, still going. Obviously, gold, I would say, is following this
5,000
trend. Yeah, 5,000, yeah, on spot. Yeah, so
first time ever.
There goes gold. And then you know what's the problem is Bitcoin, man. Bitcoin's not doing anything down here, 87,000 right now. So announced around 7 a.m., says Adara. Thank you, Adara, for that information there officially from the government. But yeah, CoreWeave and Nvidia expand partnership to build out more than 5 gigawatts of AI factories, Brendan, by 2030. So a story kind of out of the blue. You never know what's going to happen around here.
Yeah, I was just going to bring exactly that, a little more detail here, guys. This is straight equity. So $2 billion in equity at 87.20. So Jensen and team bottom ticked Friday's price action here. And then absolutely straight to the upside on this news again. Nvidia investing $2 billion straight equity at the very bottom. It happened to be, guys, on Friday. This thing absolutely turned on a dime and ripped when that happened. 87.20 again, $2 billion again, as you said. 5 gigawatts of AI factories by 2030, with CoreWeave planning to early deployments of NVIDIA's Rubin platform, plus Vera CPUs and Bluefield systems. So NVIDIA wanting CoreWeave to hurry things up a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, it's coming in real hot here. I'm actually thinking about taking some of this here, Sean, because it's holding well. It pulled back in towards its VWAP here. So let's take a look and define some levels as we go into the day here. So I guess there's no VWAP here. So I'll throw that VWAP on there. Volume VWAP, just search VWAP. Boom. Right there. So here we go. Let's see where that is sitting. We don't need those Bollingers here, or the bands. Here we go. So that's coming in at 99. You can see here on the 1 minute chart. We pulled back sub 100 into the 99 area, pulling right back in to these highs, 102. So yeah, I'm sure the news is fresh. The news is disseminating across the world. But we'll see if we can hold some of these higher prices here. We are coming into a weekly high as well, Sean. So let's just take a look at that. So prior week high is coming in right there at 102, 103s. We've got some space all the way up to some former highs here. I see the prior kind of consolidation before that structure broke and we sold off maybe 130s all the way up to 150. So it seems like we're making a line back up with some Nvidia stake. That will definitely add some decent buying pressure, at least in the shorter term. We've seen that happen here. And like you said before, Intel as well, kind of a similar story in the past. But I'm honestly looking for a potential dip buy on this one as it pulls back into all of this chop that we made around 35s to 40s here for a continuation. But 50 it could just be all she wrote, because this is prior levels where we've sold off multiple times before. So it makes sense if we're going to have some trouble in and around these areas from before as well on Intel. But new member of the watch list. CoreWeave, for sure.
Yeah, CoreWeave on there. And it's funny because I mentioned maybe ARM was going to do something, and ARM all of a sudden shot up a little bit there as well. Just some of these beatdown plays in this space, I think, continue to work. Is AMD doing anything? Because AMD was on one as well. Okay, back down to 255, so that's kind of nice right there. Yeah, just looking at our watch list, good to see Sharif in the building. Glad to have you here, my man. Precious metals up 4%, U.S. rare earth up absolutely monstrous. Crypto stocks to the downside, semiconductors to the downside. Some IonQ was ticking a little bit higher here today in the pre-market as well. Yeah. They're announcing Skywater technology. We actually talked about some water plays. I wonder if that is anything to do with water there. $1.8 billion, $35 in cash. Apparently here, $15 cash, $20 in stock, taking out SKYT is IonQ. So SKYT making a little bit of a purchase here in Skywater. Looks like that's going to go out at $35. More vertically integrated quantum computing platform. Chip manufacturing in. So I guess nothing to do with water. But right there, nice move higher for SKYT. And IonQ getting into the business now of taking over different names, vertically integrated. So we, like some of those names, IonQ, we talked about Rigetti and some different names in the quantum space as well. QBTS had a great run last week up to 25, wow, $26 already here for QBTS. And yeah, the Nasdaq's kind of floating around here, 0.16 right now. So yeah, lots of stuff going on, man. ASTS, Rocket Labs, like everything still keeps on going. RKLB keeps on going to the north side here. Well, $87 actually for Rocket Lab, a little bit of a pullback. We actually saw, just looking at names that were moving around on Friday, some nice moves to the downside. You mentioned Intel already, Rocket Lab, ASTS, different looks there. We're going to have Michael Noss, I believe, on as well. Ooh, it's nice to see Apple Oven finally getting a little bit of a move higher here as well. This could be a trade today. Apple Oven trading higher on Needham upgrade from buy to hold. Another name that's just been, since its introduction into the S&P 500 has been getting hit pretty good here, APP. And we had actually noticed this on Friday as well, or into last week, that we were running into a little bit of a bottom potential here for Apple Oven. So that could be a potential buy the dip area as well. XOM is higher today. The energy names, like the metal plays, there's just everything right now is bumping around. Crypto not bumping, but that story there with CoreWeave and Nvidia definitely going to send some waves through the space. And big earnings week, big week for, we talk about Wednesday and Thursday being pretty big days, and then you get Wednesday also the Fed.
Yeah.
So yeah, lots to look forward to today. We've got Joe back in the building, so that's really nice. So Joe will be here for the afternoon. I think he's been doing the upgrades and downgrades, working on those now. Some options plays as well. So it's great to have Joe back in the building. I guess Neil's playing Daddy Daycare today. Yeah. I have no idea, but I just found out that
snow day for sure. Snow day for sure. Because was it last week or the week before there was a snow day as well? Yeah. And it was significantly less snow.
Yeah, today, yeah. They actually announced it was actually the board. They never take snow days, pretty much. And they announced it yesterday, I think midday or somewhere near, maybe later on to give parents an opportunity to make plans and get it all figured out. So yeah, we're excited to have a snow day around my house, but too many snow days, man. The kids get too many days off. Let's send them into school. Let them shovel. They can shovel our way out of the house today. That's for sure. Yeah, but it was crazy, man. The heights of that snow was, and it's so funny. I mean, you're not a big guy into football or anything like that, but it's funny because none of the games yesterday were played like in an affected area. So like normally you'd have Buffalo or New England, like all these teams that are in the Eastern Seaboard. There was no games in New York. There was no games in Philadelphia. Like the games were Denver, which got nasty near the end. It was a little snowy there. And then the other one was in Seattle. So I was just saying to the wife, like, it's funny because if there was any sort of game that was on the Eastern side, like what would that look like for football? That would have been true, like chaos there for football. But
I did watch a decent chunk of the Bills versus Broncos last week.
Oh, you did?
That last minute was crazy.
Yeah, that's football generally.
I didn't know who was who, but I was just like, yeah, it's absolutely crazy how things can just turn on a dime.
There's always, and the thing is now with instant replays and like everything is down to like the milliseconds sometimes. Are they inbounds? Are they out of bounds? What's the next play? Did they make the catch? Did he make the catch? Yeah, no, football, I mean, all sports comes down to such small, details. It's like trading, actually. Sometimes if you miss the one fill, like that could be the one trade that you miss, exactly. And if you don't get that catch. But all right, then. So it's going to be Seahawks versus Patriots. So I know you're basically. No favorites?
I happened to be at a bar, so I was just like, it was on the screen.
So what do you think for Super Bowl, though? It's going to be Seattle versus New England, so Seahawks, Patriots. So do you have any initial leans?
I have no idea
no initial leans?
Or, what the stats are, what the players are, what the teams are, but I don't know. We'll see.
I'm going to lean. I'm initially leaning Seahawks right here, so we'll have to see what the line is there. But all right, we can go back to this. Did you guys get a chance to watch any football there yesterday? I didn't get much of it. We were out for a lot of the day, but
I did not. Sharif has arrived, by the way.
Hey.
Good to see you. And good to
Oh, yeah. It was a smooth way down, Brendo. No issues whatsoever. It's fantastic.
I sense a little bit of sarcasm there, but the Uber driver was in full force.
He was good.
Yeah.
The Uber driver was like the highlight of the morning,
Okay,
to be
perfect.
quite honest with you. But everything else was a bit of a fiasco, Brendo. I don't know. Like, did we not know the storm was coming? Where were the shuttle buses?
Right.
Where did they go?
Yeah.
Where are the cleaning crews?
So they had no subway on the one and only stretch of that line that's outside.
Yeah, you can't get downtown. And if you think that you're going to weasel your way onto a shuttle bus, think again and think for a lot longer because they're not there. But yeah, God bless Toronto.
Questionable.
Yeah,
Questionable.
It was fantastic, actually. A couple of games yesterday, Sean. I loved the ending of the LA Rams and Seattle game. Seattle driving down the field and kind of taking the ball out of LA's hand. That should be an interesting one there. The 12th man really came in for Seattle.
It's interesting. I stuck my head out our door about, I don't know, 3 o'clock, 3:30 something yesterday afternoon. Nobody around. Like it was a ghost town. It's like just snowing like crazy. I looked across the street, and the building across the street, every single window that you could see, the television was watching football. So there was probably 10 windows that I saw in the building across the street.
Well,
and there was nothing else to do.
Exactly.
Everybody was sitting there watching football. So yeah, man, what a day that was yesterday anyway. You guys, Sean and I, we were just mentioning this silver trade. This is just SLV, the ETF, but we're sitting at $100, by the way.
Unreal.
For SLV, up 7% here once again this morning, as Sean was mentioning. This is a double since December.
Unbelievable.
This ETF just
unbelievable. 55% year to date. We haven't even closed out the end of the month yet, Brendo. I mean, but I mean, nothing's really changed when you're talking about the inflation hedge, right? Or sorry, the chaos hedge, so to speak. Obviously, there was some stuff in Minneapolis over the weekend, and then between Canada and the United States, more trade tariff tensions as President Trump threatens 100% tariffs if we are to strike a free trade deal with China. So the geopolitical uncertainty continues to grow, Brendo, and people keep putting their money in precious metal.
I mean, Carney came out right away and said, nope, not happening.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what choice do we have? Obviously, that's going to be the case. So we'll see what they end up doing, whether or not there's any kind of deal. Just seeing Strategy, MSTR, picking up another 3,000, looks like, 2,900. 2,932 Bitcoin over the past week here. Maybe that's why it was just sitting at 160 for the past couple of days anyways. For MSTR, Bitcoin not really doing a heck of a lot here this morning. Just kind of chopping around. I mean, absolutely monster week ahead, obviously. All of biggest of the big coming as far as earnings. And then on top of that, as the guys were mentioning, hey, we got a Fed decision as well midweek.
That's going to be huge. Talk about a big week. Yeah, well, we got kind of like if you're worried about the AI trade getting unwound, there was some sort of silver lining there to kind of hang your hat on a couple of weeks ago when Taiwan Semi reported. They increased their CapEx, I think, by the tune of $10 billion, guiding 52 to 56. And that helped chips recover because everybody and their mother has really kind of been trying to guess when the AI trade pops or unwinds. And Taiwan Semi continues to kind of make us feel a little bit better about that. So let's see if the hyperscaler is going to continue to spend, Brent.
I mean, it might be at this rate, it might be silver that pops before the AI trade actually does. I saw a couple of people in the chat mentioning this too. APLD also moving here, guys, possibly on this CoreWeave announcement this morning. So CoreWeave is still going. APLD is about to take out the highs here from Friday. Had an absolute monster day on Friday, and we're up already big time for this one as well.
Yeah, I was just going to say Applied Digital catching some. I mean, CoreWeave is going to be the big guy, but it's like the same kind of thing that happens with US AR, and then BNAI and Quad U and all those names, TMC and everything. Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed this, but this is the US dollar. It's had a very aggressive pullback. Like we were really starting to go to the upside here as we thought we had some sort of certainty, and then Davos hit. And then it was like, what in the, so we're all the way back here into July lows again here for the US dollar. Not good, right? And we just talked about the Fed Chair Powell coming through on Wednesday and his term coming up in May. And then uncertainty about what's going to happen with the Fed, uncertainty about who gets appointed to the Fed, uncertainty about Trump and, the United States, policies regarding Greenland definitely affecting it. We have trade problems now with Canada and US. Like I was actually talking about on Thursday, Friday, I was like, you know what? I really think Canada and US are going to come up with some kind of a deal pretty soon. And I still think that way. I think all this talking back and forth about China and what exactly we're going to do with them continues to bother the market. So I just wanted to say, like, we do have the Fed interest rate come up, and Sharif said, you know, what an interesting week it's going to be. He's not wrong about that, but it's not going to be that interesting for the rate cut because it ain't happening. So there it is right there, 97% chance that in just a matter of 3 days, I get 2 days, Wednesday afternoon, that you are going to get a non-movement here in the rate. So we're not super excited for that day, but that just means that there's going to be a lot of volatility around that 2 to 2:30 to 3 p.m. time when Powell takes the stand for just a few more times, man. He's got 1, 2, 3 more, and then he's gone in May, and then June will be Hassett or Warsh, or I'm sure Adair's got some stats for us on who's going to be the next Fed chair. But, you know, at the end of the day, 97% chance, Obi, it's this that's bothering me. It's the downward trend here in the United States dollar. That's not going to be great for many multinational companies. You want to have a strong U.S. dollar when you're trying to repatriate it back in. So names like Apple and Google and, you know, that are doing business outside of the United States, all of a sudden when they got to bring their money back in, pay their employees, blah, 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 it's a little bit of a problem that dollar's become less valuable. But, you know, we're down about 1% there in a couple of days, which is pretty decent there for the DXY. So just another storyline that we're going to have to play off of here. And it's affecting big names, you know, Teslas and the Apples and things like that get hit when we do have a weak US dollar. And then obviously the push up there in gold, the metals, everything like that, having, stand frog in my throat, having an effect on the price of that US dollar. So yeah, it should be an interesting day here. And we didn't even talk about yet. We didn't talk about Micron. We didn't talk about SanDisk. We didn't talk about Western Digital. Like, all of these names continue to be hot. And then we have APLD and this new CoreWeave. This CoreWeave story won't go away. It just sits there on our screen. It is that important. Let me just see CRWV. It's funny because I bet Joe, it's funny, like, to look at what these options probably just exploded. Like, CoreWeave is a great trade and probably a great option name as well. Just like the moves that this name has had over the last week. Like, we were already up here last week, 103. We fell back into 90. Now you're right back up here on a nice investment there from Nvidia into CoreWeave. All right, we've waited a very, very long time. I think about a week, maybe a little bit more, for Joe to be back. He's the very handsome one. We all might have forgot. He's got the new look. He looks amazing. Actually, he's making me think that I need to shave my head at some point here, but I'm not going to look at anything like this stud over here. All right, it's Joe. He's back in the building. I'm not sure if it's upgrades, downgrades, or whatever, but it doesn't matter. Let's throw it over to Joe, see what he's saying. Welcome back, my friend.
Thank you. And obviously, thank you, everyone, for all the wishes in the chat. But enough is enough. Let's get into some of this options activity and see what we got going on. A lot going on in the derivatives world here, guys. Silver, and I mean, this was done on Friday, so you have to take into consideration, this is Friday's data, and then sure enough, this morning we have SLV hitting that $100 mark, a little bit north of that. So at that $100 strike price, guys, we have approximately 15,000 still current open contracts, and volume on Friday's session was around 19,800, and that's going to be expiring on the 30th. Now look at the spread here on the bid and the ask, around $4, not too bad, but I think that's going to come in with an increase with the implied volatility. We're sitting around 80%, which I think is relatively high here for silver. Now, as for your delta, that was extremely cool considering it was far out of the money, but now that's going to drastically increase leading into the open. So you're going to get an at-the-money delta here in SLV, and then your gamma, the exact same thing, greatest when it's at the money, and relatively cool because such a far OTM contract. That is going to be silver, looking for the continuation here today. Now, as for the next, an NVDA headline coming in to this pre-market session, guys. A lot of activity. Once again, volume 42,000 contracts at that $192.50 strike price, with open interest still sitting around $61.50. 61,500, sorry. But one thing that I want to note is that through the 90s to 95s, there's a lot of concentration of open interest, and I'm going to be looking at these as supply zones, hence why I think we're having a little bit of a hard time breaking through some of these key levels. Now, you can see the bid and the ask considering it's NVDA. Relatively tight. You're only looking at $2 there, not bad whatsoever. The delta 0.23, so for every $1 change in the contract, you're going to see in the underlying, you're going to see a $23 change in the contract. Gamma relatively light, and the at the money IV pretty cool as well too, guys, sitting around 37.5%. Now, as for some of the put activity, guys, INTC taking it on the nose. I actually heard Sean talking about it, and I'm like, let's take a look at this on Friday's session. Yes, it was not too good look of a look for Intel. Now, at that $43 strike price, volume around 13,100, with open interest still sitting around 6,000, nothing substantial. Now, your delta, it's always going to be on the put side, right? So mind you that it's going to be negative. Keep that in mind. Your at the money IV, 60.4%, and the gamma exposure, relatively light. Now, as for JP Morgan, yes, this is one of my picks, but the banking sector continuing to slide here, guys. At that $300 mark, open interest relatively light considering this is a bank name, around 3,160, and the volume as for open and close contracts sitting around 3,111. Bid in the ask, that's wide, right? Like that's pretty hefty. $40 just to get involved there, guys. Delta, once again, always going to be negative. And then you're at the money IV sitting around 21.1%. I'm going to look at this as somewhat of a bullish indicator. Maybe we start to climb a little bit here in the banking sector, guys. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
All right, guys. So today's coverage is supported by electroCore Inc., a Nasdaq-listed bioelectronic technology company trading under the symbol ECOR. electroCore develops non-invasive neuromodulation therapies designed to activate the vagus nerve with products spanning prescription medical devices and consumer wellness. Its flagship GammaCore platform is FDA cleared for multiple headache indications, while its Truvaga and Quell products expand the company's reach into wellness and chronic pain. With growing adoption across the VA, international healthcare systems, and direct-to-consumer channels, electroCore is building a diversified, high-margin bioelectric business. Learn more at electrocore.com. Yeah, man, definitely that silver is one of my top ideas. Like, do we go long? Do we go short? Is it close to a blow-off top? And I think, you know, this move, as much as I want it to be, you know, over, and I'm looking for that potential backside move, this is showing no indication of slowing down or selling off. And we talked about last week, just get like a lot of institutional participants getting squeezed out of this position as well from maybe down here in the 80s. But you know, maybe this trade is slightly different. Maybe everyone's running to these precious metals like gold and silver due to geopolitical tensions as well, right? Just as a safe haven.
Yeah, I think that is. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and if the Dixie's affected by any of that as well, then you know that gold and silver are going to be more of a safe haven for people. And yeah, Bitcoin's not really catching that bid.
No, and that's what I was saying about I feel like Bitcoin has lost sort of that edge to it, right? It's no longer that, hey, you know, like the monetary system's completely falling down here, let's run to Bitcoin. I mean, it's been the complete opposite. They're running to actual physical silver, things you can hold. Gold continuing to go, copper continues to go higher. And I do think that it's a play against the monetary system. I mean, as people continue to worry about where to store their value, where to put their money, if we're nervous about the stock market, play something that just continues to rip higher. Like, I saw people on this chat that were excited about silver at $20, $30, $40, $50. Like, I ran into a guy, I think it was Thursday or Friday last week, I was messaging him. It was about the Intel play, and he tells me he's got a crap ton of silver, and he still thinks it's going higher. And this is a smart guy, someone that's not just like, you know, and they think it's going higher. And we mentioned that again. Yeah. You know, what's going to stop this thing from going? And I think the part about silver for me is that when you're in it, you feel like the floor can fall out at any time because it is such a levered product. And thanks, Joe, for going over some of those options. And I just think that right now everyone's piling in, and the floor can come out on silver at some point. But I don't think that point is now. And when it does, that's why you want to have stop orders. I was just, I sent a message there to Adara, but I don't know why Apple's up 1.5% here. These guys are going to upgrade. Okay, so starting to catch an upgrade there. Reporting on Thursday. Yep. So that was giving me a little bit. I wanted to look at it today because a few days heading into earnings there. I think this is the Mag 7 to buy ahead of earnings. You guys can, check me on that in a couple weeks. But it's been beat up so much. I haven't really heard anything negative about Apple. As far as their streams are going and like their production, everything there. I think they had a good little quarter. They had that movie with F1 with Brad Pitt. Yeah. We talked about their AirPods starting to pump through as well. And then now they finally get that Gemini look and a rebuild of Siri that's not, hasn't been talked about enough in my opinion. Like I thought that was the thing that we were all waiting for. So I'm going to put Apple on watch today, man. And if we can get it down to 250, somewhere around there, I don't know if that's going to be winding up happening there, but an analyst note ahead of earnings, creating Apple to the high side in a negative Nasdaq. So that could be a trade for me at some point here today. So yeah, let's roll today, man. This is going to be a good day. It's 8:30 here. Yeah. We're ready to rock and roll. Make sure you guys do come through. Hit the like, hit the subscribe. We're live every single day now at 8 a.m. and excited to be here, man. You win some, you lose some, and today let's put on some wins in that W column there, like the Seahawks and Patriots had done over the weekend. So, Obi, you have to do some research, man. It's 2 weeks. The Super Bowl, you get a week off. You got to figure that out.
Which teams are which?
Yeah, man. And now with Kalshi and everything like that, now everything is on Polymarket and everything. So the betting has gone wild.
Gambling paradise.
Yeah, just watching. I mean, to Brendan's point, they're watching all the TVs that are just throwing up all these games. It's like you can't go now without finding out what the odds are, what like the over-under is. I was just sitting there watching the pregame and scrolling along the bottom were just, it used to be stats and things like that. Right. Now scrolling along the bottom is just like, percentage chance of Obi getting a touchdown, plus 300 or, this and that, like all these things. I was just like, oh my God. And then this segment brought to you by DraftKings or brought to you by, so it's just, it's a crazy world right now that we're living in. I mean, everybody wants to gamble and it makes watching the game a little, I don't know, my opinion, more interesting anyways. Yeah. Put a little skin in the game there.
Interesting. Yeah, no, these gambling companies are really, I mean, they're getting that volume as well. And another thing, interestingly enough, that I was looking into, Sean, is just it's market making on these.
Right, okay,
for Polymarket, for DraftKings and stuff like that. And I was just like, yeah, maybe we can exercise some of our skills there.
The thing is,
at the same time, because they're actual they take traders that are doing this.
Yeah, I don't know. I know. Yeah, you could figure all that stuff out. But at the end of the day, I think it's just this is like where Wall Street's going, right? It's all now about these quants and everything like that. And they've gone from, and we got Michael Noss come on here and talk about this too. But it's the game has changed so much with everybody building, systems for everything now. Yep. There's someone's watching silver, with sort of a systematic play that's being built behind the scenes where they're not executing any trades. And the same thing's going to be happening for, these gambling markets as well.
It already has.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I think you can even have API access, maybe even into into the back end of those things, right? So it just creates, if you see some sort of an arbitrage, but that's the thing about arbitrage, right? I mean, now with the way systems are and the way technology is, it's such a fast game. Yeah, you really have to be on this thing 24/7. And we saw someone make a bunch of money on that play when someone found out that they were going into Venezuela. The next thing you knew, someone ran up the Maduro bet that he was going to get captured and made millions of dollars.
$30,000 initial bet.
Whatever it was, made a couple hundred.
Yeah. What's up, Randy?
You made it in today? Atta boy, Randy. I think we might have got more snow than you guys, though. Yeah. A lot more. Yeah, we got 25 inches at my house. Inches. 60 centimeters. Yeah. No, over my knee.
We got like
10.
10. I brought my snowmobile in.
Ooh.
Okay. All right.
I like it. Randy. Yeah. Man, Randy's got the haircut. Everyone's just looking so sharp around here. Always got the look. Oh, there's no breakfast here yet.
Haircut I got like a couple weeks ago. Man, my hair grows so fast.
No, it's fine too. Okay, let's go back over to the man with the best, facial hair. We talk about. I mean, your facial hair is very nice as well. Yes. Though, but this guy's got the beard.
Oh yeah,
he's got the look. He's a friend of ours now for friend of mine for many more years than this, because we had met each other a ways long time ago when we were doing opening the floors and everything like that, and talking about doing things out east and whatnot. But definitely a friend of the show and family of the show now. It's Michael Noss. So let's throw it back over to the guys at the desk. And Michael, you know, from me to you, thank you so much for everything that you provide to the show. I don't get to talk to him enough. So, all right, back over to the desk. It's Sharif and Brendan with Michael.
All right. First of all, is it snowing there yet? And if so, how bad is it?
Yeah, and what an intro, Sean. Thanks. I like that. That was amazing, and I love coming here. But no, he said 25 inches. We got like 5, so I won't complain. I'll just I think we got kind of the aftermath of what you guys got, so it's a little bit weaker here. So yeah. I was gonna come on and complain about shoveling the driveway, but I got like a fifth of you guys, so I'll just shut my mouth here.
I zoomed out on the weather map this morning and saw it looked like it was a little bit north of you. So yeah, you're getting a little bit lucky, I think, because man, like record snowfall in Toronto. It's unbelievable. I was reading this morning the most snow ever at Pearson Airport yesterday in a 24-hour period. So it's crazy. Anyway,
you guys are still here. That's dedication.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any excuses. I live 2 blocks from here, so it's fine. Let's talk about the market, because I think this is going to be. I mean, we teed this up as probably the most important week, or could be anyways, in a while, with the biggest of the big mega cap tech earnings coming through. Fed decision obviously coming up on Wednesday as well. All that said, you know, we're still kind of chopping around here in a range versus where some of the other indexes that you've been looking at around the world aren't necessarily.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be a good lesson here. I have a lot of charts, but we're just gonna pop through them. And I think there's a good lesson for what is working, not just where. So basically, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at the U.S. and then we're going to take a little trip around the world, and we're going to see all the other countries that are working, and then we're going to try to find a common thread here in places that money might be flowing. So if you're someone who doesn't like to trade international stocks, again, I think there'll still be a little bit of a takeaway here for you guys. And this is just, you know, all these are kind of blank charts, right? This is the Qs. We've done nothing now since November. You know, we're knocking on the door of February, and we're at the same price we were since November. We haven't really done anything one way or another. Brendan's 100% right. Maybe we could. Maybe we're going to get some Fed talk and some earnings, and maybe that will pop us out. But when I was going through my weekend charts, this next chart really stuck out to me, and it's this ACWX for those who are looking. And this is the rest of the world with the U.S. taken out, is the best way to put it. It's all of the other MSCI country indexes with the U.S. pulled out. You can see new all-time highs, and really has not been looking back. If you look at the same kind of time frame from November to December, just a solid uptrend. So I wanted to take a look a little bit under the hood here and try to figure out what countries are working. So again, shout out to anyone who's in any of these countries. But again, I think you'll see a little bit of a theme here. So next chart here is EWZ. This is Brazil. So Brazil, new all-time highs, had a wicked last week, 5 days in a row, right up, really, really strong here. Next one here is South Korea with EWY. Again, huge uptrend, just relentless trend here. Next is EWU, and this is United Kingdom. Again, these are all U.S. listed ETFs. Anyone can buy and trade and own these things if you want a little bit of international exposure. EWC, this is us. Shout out Canada. This might give the ghost away of why I think things are working. So yeah, the next chart is EWC, new all-time highs, wicked trend, no real harsh pullbacks or anything like that. So things are working well. Just a few more here. EWD is Sweden. So again, shout out Sweden, new highs, huge trend last week. And we have EWM, which is Malaysia, also new all-time highs. So shout out Malaysia here. And then last is Taiwan we have here. So EWT is kind of the last chart. So everything's breaking out, right? All of these, you went across the board. There was only a couple countries that weren't near all-time highs. So it means if you aren't if you don't have any international exposure, you should get some, or you should look to get some. And the beauty of it is, to give the U.S. their props, is you guys got the best market in the world down there. You could, everything I've showed you, plus a lot of individual equities are all traded on U.S. markets. So you don't have to go to Malaysia and open up a brokerage account. You don't have to go to South Korea and open up a brokerage account. You can get exposure to all of these here. And then a lot of the main actual stocks, if you want to go individual equities, they're traded there as well. But I think the bigger conversation is just about, okay, what does this mean when the U.S. is just not doing anything for months and the rest of the world's breaking out? There's one thing that, you could say geopolitical risk, you could say a lot of things like that. The way I look at it is more the makeup of the actual countries and what they do to make money. And Taiwan kind of excluded here up on screen. Mostly the U.S., if you look at the Qs and you look at the SPY, mostly tech. Large cap tech dominates, again, the Qs and the SPYs and most of the U.S. market. If you go around the world, it's not quite like that. I don't know a lot of huge, Belgium tech companies. It's a lot more industrials. It's a lot more commodities. It's a lot more materials, right? I don't need to sit here and tell you guys that commodities have been rocketing. Everyone's been looking at silver and gold and maybe copper, but I think this is just another way to talk about the rotation that we've been sitting here and kind of pounding the table and talking about for such a long time, is that if the U.S. wants to kind of catch up, it needs these Mag 7 or these large cap techs for these particular indices to end up breaking out. But the rest of the world doesn't. So if the average stock is doing well, then these other ones will do well. So when you're looking internationally, I think you could still invest in the U.S. if you want to do that, but just look at industrials, look at farming equipment, look at commodities, and then maybe we just continue to avoid large cap tech until it's proven itself to us that it wants to make another leg higher.
It's one of those ideas where, if you take a step back and say, okay, cool, if I had all of those that you just, ran through there very quickly 6-8 months ago, that's been a pretty good trade. But here we are, sitting with everything but the U.S. at all-time highs. I don't think many people are going to be too comfortable just jumping into any of those at these levels before or without some sort of, retracement or a reason to get a little bit of, better prices. In that case, as you said, maybe it's more the catch-up trade. That's the opportunity here.
Yeah, and again, if you look at these countries, they're doing more, like, I guess, real things, right? So, industrials, retail, things like that drive these indices way more than tech. So if we're going to see this rotation continue, you don't have to go buy, the ACWX at all-time highs, but maybe you want to start looking at U.S.-based industrial companies that haven't quite broken out. Caterpillar, John Deere, maybe some smaller type of these industrial companies, and start to look and start to kind of dig in. I think that's the main lessons under the hood. Say, okay, take a look at Belgium. Belgium's breaking out to new all-time highs. We'll just go look at what parts of their economy drive these indexes. And then if that part in that country is doing very well, that might get mirrored here as well. So if and when, these earnings come out well and we start to see the Qs break out to new highs, there might be some under the hood plays that not many people are looking at that could break out as well. Again, in the industrial space, the commodity space, transportation, whatever it is these countries do. So it's just good to take that zoom out and say, okay, these guys are doing great. I wonder what they're doing. And is that going to be mirrored back in the US at some point?
So is in that case then, are you using this more as a sentiment, type of idea more than anything, or a way to gauge your participation in the US at this point? Or is it more, where can I be positioned properly for when that happens?
It's a lot about positioning. Where can I be? Now, some of this is going to be that the US dollar has just been getting killed, right? So when that happens, generally you see an outperformance in those equities. So if this changes, this could reverse. But for me, I just look at it the same way we always talk about the S&P 500 versus the RSP, and the RSP being an equal weighted version and a better representation about what the average stock is doing. If you're just looking at the US and you're just looking at the Qs, you could very easily look at that and say, well, the market hasn't gone anywhere in ages. But by just adding these ETFs to my watch list and going through them, I'm seeing that everywhere else in the world is breaking out to new highs. And, even last week had an amazing week. So that gives me another rabbit hole to go down to kind of ask why and to see what sectors in the US could participate if what we're seeing in the rest of the world, which is a move away from large cap tech into other sectors, if that's going to happen here, I'm able to make my watch list and take a look at different things that, again, if it's going to happen here, that could that could break out and kind of catch up.
It's so interesting because we haven't been in this position for so long, with everything else leading and the U.S. still, waiting around to catch up. So much could change though this week, as we said, with what is to come. So great stuff, Michael Moss. Have a good week. Happy shoveling, whatever you have to shovel today, and we'll catch you later on.
Yeah, be safe down there or over there, guys.
We will.
Have a good one.
Great stuff as always by Michael and Brendan, guys. All right, let's take a look at some of the analyst activity here this morning. At the top of the list, we have Shell on the downgrade side, guys. Going from an outperform to a sector perform, still slightly positive here this morning, and that's going to be by Royal Bank of Canada. And then we also have Royal Gold getting the downgrade, guys. Same thing, outperform to sector perform, slightly positive, 2 1/5 here, and that is going to be RGLD. Now, as for Bombardier, going from a neutral to a sell by Goldman Sachs, and then we have the fashion designer Hugo Boss going to a sector perform. Now, as for some of the upgrades, guys, let's take a look at it. AppLovin up 2% this morning, going from a hold to a buy and a $700 price target by Needham. And then we also have Cisco up 2.4% this morning, going from a $80 price target to a $100 price target, but also getting the upgrade, guys, going from inline to outperform by Evercore ISI. And then we have Meta Platforms. Substantial price target increase here from $740 to $900, also going with the upgrade neutral to a buy rating. Once again, price target $900. You're up a little bit more than 0.75% here this morning. And Apple also getting the nod this morning, guys, getting that price target raised from $305 to $315. You're up 1.3% here this morning by JPM.
So the play for me that I like is AppLovin there, and we can talk about the way that looks like on the chart, but I did want to show to everybody that like this EEM, which is emerging markets, this is exactly what Michael's been talking about. The emerging markets has outpaced the S&P 500, I think it was 17%, or what was the S&P 500 last year? This is where EEM started the year. So the emerging markets last year started at $41, up to $60 right here. So it's EEM that continues. It's EWJ, the Japan. There's a bunch of different, and they're all EW something. EWZ is Brazil. There's an easy way to get involved now. It never used to be this way. Like, I pretty much only invest in North America, which has been crazy because of just the outperformance here of the greater markets. I mean, it's not just a U.S. story that continues to work out here. This is Japan, right? Japan started January of last year, $65, $84 right now. So, you're up 20% or so on that, even more, maybe 25% in Japan. EWZ is going to be, and hopefully I have these all right. This is what I was remembering. Hold on, let me just make sure. EWZ, I believe, is Brazil. Yes, it is. Check out Brazil, the sort of overperformance against this was $22, man, now up to $36 right here. You overlay this against the Nasdaq, you overlay this against the S&P 500. Michael just said that Nasdaq's been doing nothing since July. Well, if you parked your money in Brazil in July, you're at $27, you're now 36, Obi. So you've almost got 40% in 6 months here on EWZ. Meanwhile, our money's just burning a hole in our pocket sitting here in the SPY or the Nasdaq. So yeah, just a big difference there. And make sure you do check out some of your exposure potentially to some of these foreign markets, because you may be realizing, like I am, that you are well underweight in many of these names. Like this has gone from $600 in July, 630 to 680. So it's you know, can't be upset with the performance in the S&P 500, of course. But yeah, emerging markets has been definitely a story to be told. And then just quickly, because I think I'm going to add AppLove in here. I'm looking for kind of another play on the board. But yeah, just a beat up name. It's doing something right to get added to the Nasdaq 100, to the S&P 500, and now you've fallen right back in. And I think it's a decent upgrade, right back into some decent levels here. Let's call it $500. That's your 200 period moving average, Obi. That's really like that level. Right. So we'll see if that's a good hold area here for APP. Getting hit, obviously, as we talked about the trade desk and some of the different ways now of monetizing some of these apps, and CRM has been a big hit in the space as well for customer relations management, but HubSpot, another name. So any of those catch your eye or anything you want to talk about?
Yeah, for sure. I think, again, Michael Noss, thank you very much once again, pointed out that, industrials pushing some fresh highs, very strong over the past few years, even relative to some of the other sectors here. So I just pulled up XLI to see what that's doing. And yeah, prior, we hit all-time highs this current month here with only about 4 days left, 167.20. So yeah, some of the constituents I'll definitely be looking into to see if there's anything for potential continuations there. But off of the upgrades and downgrades, I really like Apple here, AAPL, coming into some prior structure. You can see here, again, we're on the monthly chart here, but pulling back into some of those prior highs, and it looks even better on the weekly. I actually traded this last week on just a technical trade. We had a bit of a multi-day consolidation. We gapped down, and then sellers were very, very dominant on Tuesday. Again, the market also gapping down at the same time. But since then, we've been kind of consolidating here. This is what I'm looking at. So this 244 wick down to this prior level, and I'm just like, all right, there were buyers here as well before. Let's see if there's buyers here once again, and it's a bit of an area from prior as well, coming into January of 2025. I also like Cisco with that upgrade there. CSCO, you can see here, pushed all-time highs over the past couple of months, 80.38s here, but pulling back into 73.75s, but now on the daily breaking out once again off of some prior day highs there. So as long as we can hold above these 75, I do like this pre-market action. Nothing too crazy, but did catch a bit of a bump there, very likely on that upgrade, holding above 75s, which was prior week high here on Cisco. So those are the few things that I'm definitely watching here on the day relative to those upgrades and downgrades, Brendo.
This portion of the show brought to you by our friends at PDSB Biotechnology on the Nasdaq. PDSB, they're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancer. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the US in a few years. Learn more, go to pdsbiotech.com. CoreWeave coming back into $100 here right now, just kind of chopping around right now. If anyone's just joining or wondering what the hell's going on, Nvidia decided to buy $2 billion, this is straight equity, at 87.20. I mentioned this before, but if you zoom out a little bit back to Friday, I think the low was 87.10 on Friday. So they bottom ticked Friday's price action by almost, anyways, by about 10 cents. So here we are back at $100 for CoreWeave. What a trade.
And it doubles their investment, Brendo, into the company. They already had some investments already. Deal specifics, they purchased Class A common stocks for, as you mentioned, $87.20 a pop. It nearly doubles their position, moving it from the third largest now to the second largest shareholder of CoreWeave. The fresh capital is earmarked, though, specifically to accelerate what they're calling the AI factory buildouts with a target of 5 gigawatts in data center capacity by the end of the decade. We're talking about 2030. Revenue backlog, though, CoreWeave is currently the largest neo-cloud provider, boasting about $55.5 billion in revenue backlog. And this is one of those things that we were talking about when we were kind of addressing Martin Shkreli's argument that some of these GPUs were being given longer lifespans than realistically possible. So we went back and looked, and so the H100s, which are basically a 2021 or 2020 GPU, they're almost at 100% capacity utilization 6 years into their life. So this was kind of the thing that we were talking about there, and this helps echo it. The revenue backlog, $55.5 billion of unmet, unable to give that kind of service because they don't have enough computers.
And how much is this also Nvidia, or maybe Jensen himself, coming through saying, let's speed things up a little bit here at CoreWeave and get some capacity going so we can move on with things. Moving on to, just hearing, just watch the market there. There's some Trump headlines just coming through. Gold's above $5,000, by the way, if anyone hasn't looked at a gold chart yet this morning. We are coming back in a little bit. This is the daily chart. What was the high here? 51.07 was the high. We went out on Friday, 49.87, so we get that gap through. $5,000 for gold.
And no shortage of geopolitical issues happening over the weekend, domestically and internationally as well. So that gold hedge looks as good as ever, as we've seen central banks buy this en masse. But, I really do want to stress, the difference between gold as a security hedge and silver, yes, being used as security hedge, but a lot more industrial applications for that metal. So something to keep in mind when deciding which metals you should be punching into, if at all.
Or even, I pulled up on the weekend, actually, GDX, the miners, the ETF anyways, maybe a better option at this point.
Absolutely.
Still, looking great and moving in the right direction, but maybe a better option. Just reading here, Apple, guys, reportedly less than a month away from releasing a new AI update for Siri. So the first Gemini update, apparently less than a month away here for Siri.
And this was widely speculated online. So if you were listening to any of, sort of the rumor generating mills online, it was a late February, release for the first Gemini. But apparently, we may be getting 2 versions of Apple Intelligence. I don't know exactly how that's going to work, whether they're going to base one on Gemini, maybe keep the basic one and connect it to ChatGPT, or they have another in-house model that they may release later in the year. But that's what I'm hearing right now with some of these rumor mills online.
The quote-unquote basic one might be pretty basic if it's compared to...
Can't be any worse than this one.
The one running run by Gemini going forward. Also, guys, Piper Sandler just out with a note on Ford. Wow. So Piper Sandler, Ford is a top pick for 2026. By Piper Sandler here, reiterating an overweight rating and a $16 price target on Ford. The firm sees potential upside from lower warranty costs, which could add up to $2.8 billion in incremental EBIT and boost EPS by 54 cents per share for the full year 2026. So Piper liking Ford.
Oh, yeah. Let's have a look, Brendo. I mean, I remember they had a recall last week. I do like the approach that the company's taking now. They're really looking at kind of diversifying away from strictly EVs, and they're looking to these new energy vehicles that have, extended range. So you'll have a battery pack on there. It'll be good for you 150, 200 kilometers. But then you'll have a gas engine, but that doesn't actually generate power to run the car. It only charges the battery. So you end up getting, if you look at the Li Auto model, 1,300 kilometers worth of range. Helps cure your range anxiety, gives you that battery pack so you can use it locally on strictly electric. You don't have to actually use gas. So I like the approach that they're taking. It seems to be that's in vogue right now. You're seeing a lot of other Chinese automakers other than Li Auto go with this format as well.
Yeah. I still think the argument, especially in a climate like the one that we live in, where you get 4 feet of snow randomly in the middle of the winter. I was mentioning to Obi before we came on here, on my way in, I mean, I've an 8-minute drive to the office. I saw 3 different cars that were stuck this morning. 2 of those 3 were Tesla Model 3s.
No way.
And they were just beached on, you know, when the snowplow goes by and leaves the big, you know, mound, they were just beached essentially on top of those. So,
Did Sean drive in? Or did you Uber in, Katina, man?
I think he took the subway this morning, which was probably the safe bet. But yeah, I mean, Ford's had quite the move here, guys, from April, May, all the way to $14 here today.
Yeah, I'm not going to be here this afternoon, which is why I didn't drive in. And plus, my Tesla was not in a garage over the weekend, so I couldn't even see it. It was parked. It's parked in a lot at the school by my house. You cannot see the car. It's completely like
no. These cars are buried.
No, it's buried. Like you cannot see it. So yesterday I shoveled out the Atlas, which is a 4x4. So and then drove that into the subway today, and then just took the subway home and didn't suffer the fate of Sharif there. The subway that I take does go outdoors for a little bit, but for some reason the tracks must have been clear where it was. But no, for me on that Tesla thing, just because you mentioned it, I got snows on, and honestly I haven't had any problem with it, but mine is also not an all-wheel drive. So those ones that maybe are beached might be the rear wheel as well. So we'll have to wait to see what's going on with that. But I like the Ford. I think the whole thing for me that I do realize there is a little bit of a nervous, you know, when you're an EV owner maybe for the first time, you do get that like, oh my God, I'm going to run out of kilometers type of thing. It always does work out. There are quite a bit of Tesla chargers everywhere, and especially superchargers nowadays as well, even in the Toronto area. But I like Ford. The wife likes the Bronco. She, you know, I don't know, the newer looking one there. I can't ask Randy about it because that won't go over well. But if I do come into here, you know, I think it's getting going a little bit. Ford, it's been going, and so I would say watch out for this 50 period. It's been coming back in. That upgrade didn't cause anything, any sort of actionable trading on the stock. And there was something that we were getting thrown to before the Ford story hit. Were we talking a little bit about Tesla, or was that just me? I like this low today on Tesla. I just added that. The sticky note's going to be out just in a matter of seconds. We had bounced off of this area a little while last week, so I think that this 443 is something to look at. So we're going to be looking at Tesla for the long side here today as well. And then, the story was Apple, and I really do like the Apple idea today. This is going to be on here. It's going to be my #1 trade idea. Upgraded at JP Morgan ahead of earnings on Wednesday. I, didn't realize about the model maybe coming out this Wednesday or whatever, the new Gemini, ChatGPT, Siri, link up, what those details all are. But we had heard last week, as Sharif had mentioned there, even reported live on our show over the last month or so, there's been little tidbits of Gemini, and Google and Apple sort of teaming up here and getting that all right. So yeah, for me, Siri works for what I'm doing it for. Like, I don't ask it anything. I just tell it to play certain music. I say like, hey, I'm not going to do it now, but hey, blah, 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 call my wife, and it calls no problem and it does all that kind of stuff. But yeah, definitely the fact that it needs a large language model, I think Apple is ready to unveil something. And with earnings coming this week, wouldn't be surprised if there is an announcement made either that day before, takes questions on the call.
Right.
They have their, lead engineer on this project on the call, and maybe it's a positive boon for the stock. So I'm going to try to go long on some Apple, and I like the stock, and I think that the way that it's been beat up there on the daily chart is worth a shot now. You're not paying premium price here for Apple, and something to look at AAPL. But what are you thinking on the long term?
No, definitely. I like the Apple move there. Already bidding up pretty well off of that potential news upgrade this morning in the pre-market. You can see back through 250 with a high of 251.96. As I was talking about this earlier, Sean, where it was coming into this level here on the daily. You can see this was when was this? In October. Last year, you can see this consolidation in and around this 244, 245 area where we did catch a strong bounce into all-time highs. And that was in and around the prior all-time highs here as well from December of 2024. That was coming in just shy of 260s, 258.93s there to get specific. We're coming into some prior levels and then catching a bit of a bounce, breaking prior day's highs here as well. But I think the interesting thing about Apple Apple there, Sean, is that they didn't really. We were all waiting for, okay, where's Apple's AI?
Yeah.
Like, what are they going to do? But I think what they were pretty smart about was they kind of waited. They didn't really make anything too crazy of their own, and they partnered up with someone who actually has the infrastructure to produce a pretty decent product, which is Google. So yeah, no, Gemini's great, but lately, I've been using a lot of GPT.
Oh, good.
But
have you found that you prefer one over the other?
I was preferring GPT, but now that I'm doing a little bit more coding, I think I'm gonna switch over to Claude.
Right.
Actually, because that apparently is some of the best. And of course, a lot of people talking about the premium Grok as well. I mean, Jensen said it himself.
Really? Okay.
That Elon has the best stack. So I think Grok.
Did he mean that as far as the large language model?
Yeah, I think just the AI stack.
Okay.
Just the infrastructure that Elon's built is probably some of the best out there, and Grok's top model is definitely exercising.
So that's something that I'm waiting for, is like that release of somebody that knows. It sounds like you know a lot about, or something about this, anyways. But someone that's put in the work to say, if you're looking for coding, go to this one.
Claude,
if you're looking for like exactly right. So if you're looking for image editing, use this, like Nano Banana or whatever. And if you're looking for, how to write a story for your 8-year-old, use ChatGPT. Yeah. Talk to Neil. I only use that example because I think that's what he uses as well. Spot Gamma here. As traders, whether you trade U.S. stocks, options, or futures at some point, each of us have felt blindsided. Suddenly a stock you're trading moves sharply and you're left guessing why. Well, it's not your fault. Often large funds have quietly built huge positions in the options market well before the name you're trading reacts. To gain an edge in today's market, Spot Gamma's daily Flow Patrol report reveals where big money is positioned, so you can identify stocks building momentum ahead of major price moves. To get 2 free weeks of Spot Gamma's Flow Patrol, scan the QR code on the screen and go behind the curtain to see what professionals see. There it is, man. That's exactly the kind of stuff that we've been talking about. Spot Gamma. Try to find out where those flows are coming from so that you are not blindsided. And I mean, that's something that we look at options read for and everything like that. So awesome to have Spot Gamma part of the team here at Trader TV. So. All right, we're running short on a little bit of time here. It's 9:05. We've got Joe back. We've got the team back there behind us. Obi's ready to trade with us here today as well. So with only 25 minutes left, it's our watch list. Make sure you go grab that. The link is in description. It's completely free, and you can't beat that. So go check it out. Lots of stories to cover. Back to the desk.
689.25. That's where we closed out on Friday on the SPY. We're above it right now. We're knocking on the door of 690. 689.93 is the current price. We're up 0.1. So that's going to be our first level. If we clear 690, we clear it decidedly. We'll look at it in the review. But if we clear it, we're looking at that 692.5. That's the area we kept topping out at earlier in the month. I want to say on the 7th and the 8th. If we sell off, Brendo, we're looking at the same area that we've been finding support at, 688 to 687.5.
All right, lots to talk about this morning if you haven't done so. Link is below in the description for the watch list. Absolutely free every morning. All you need is your email address, and you can have that. Has everything on it that's moving around in the pre-market. And you come join us at 8 o'clock. We'll get you ready for the open every single day. Let's talk about these rare earth stocks once again. To the upside we go right now. In fact, we're catching quite the bid here, depending on what you're looking at. I just brought up MP Materials. The actual storyline is around this one, USAR. Actually looking a little bit worse, broke through that low from early on this morning. Hasn't really recovered much, but that's the one that the U.S. is going to invest a whole bunch of money into for manufacturing. Looks like they're going to put it into an Oklahoma plant. The good news coming out of that, magnets going to be produced by the end of the year.
That's important.
On this investment, which is very important.
It's great to see, quite good to see a quick turnaround time. This is not something you usually see quick turnaround time for. The deal, the Commerce Department issuing a letter of intent for a $1.3 billion loan and a $277 million equity or in federal funding. It's going to be a rare move. Well, not so rare for the current administration. Receiving about 16.1 million common shares and 17.6 million warrants. The company bolstered its balance sheet further by raising $1.5 billion from private investors simultaneously while taking that from the federal government. The capital is earmarked for 2 major projects. The first one, a you mentioned, Brendo, magnet manufacturing plant in Stillwater, Oklahoma. The Round Top rare earth mine in Texas is the second one. This is part of obviously a broader move by the Trump administration to reshore the critical supply chain, including rare earths and critical minerals.
All right, that entire group to the upside. Just reading another story, guys, on Apple here. Unity Connection braided solo loop will be available in Apple Store locations starting later this week for $99.
Is that the AirTag?
Unity Connection braided solo loop.
I have no idea what that is.
I just Googled that, and there was a link to the Apple website for this product.
Okay.
And it says page not found when you click on it. So maybe it's not up yet, but yeah, something called the Unity Connection braided solo loop for $99 going to be available this week.
For me.
Buy 3 of them, you know, whatever it is. Any Apple product, man.
Yeah.
No, just playing around. I have no idea what that is. We did have a talk last week that they were trying to do a little button or something of some sort of an AI button. I don't know what that is, but maybe that's something to do with that. But another interesting story there from Apple. Apple's on my sticky note today, and not really on the watch list, but ahead of earnings. We'll see what happens with Apple. But yeah, you have USAR open there. I mean, it's really lifting all markets in the space today. USAR is one name. MP is going to be another one. That Quad U, another name there. LAC, we talked about Lithium of America as well. But what do you see in the charts here for USAR?
I mean, looking at USAR, we are gapping up quite significantly here. Pre-market trading at 29.85s. Here, Sean. But when I did come in, we were trading much higher. Strong bid in the overnight session as well. We got all the way up to 40 in the pre-market here at around 4 a.m. And then since then, some strong selling. 40 all the way down to 29s. It's a pretty decent pullback here, but we've been running, right? That's about 26% pullback from those pre-market highs here, and you can see on the weekly, Sean, we've been running up pretty aggressively. Just last week, we broke out of this $19 level and really accelerating to the upside. So this is I was watching it in the overnight session here as well. Just for the first candle, it just kind of just ripped up 29 halves and just, I guess, I don't know, it just halted or didn't really trade for the rest of the session, which was kind of weird. And then coming in on the day on NCSA, you can see here, it goes right from 29s all the way up to 40, just slam all the way up. And then since then, I don't know if that was capitulation. I don't know if that was a little too far too fast, but sellers have definitely been in charge in the pre-market session. I am looking for a potential continuation here. If we can maybe pull back into some of these prior levels, maybe we're looking for that gap fill. But I think just with the structure that's been formed here in the pre-market, Sean, I'm just going to be looking for potential breaks. Just keep it simple. We got a level here just shy of 35s, maybe some more here at 31s. Let's see if we can kind of pull up into some of these ranges and get a level to level here on USAR. I think it was at what, 1.6 billion, I think it was. Yeah, something like that there with a government stake. So another stock with a I wouldn't call it a presidential seal.
Yes,
I don't think he's really come out and talked about it publicly just yet.
These
but
stocks?
Yeah, on USAR specifically.
Oh, USAR specifically.
Yeah. Because this is somewhat fresh news over the weekend. So.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking to myself, like, last week, I was like, LAC, and I was talking about, maybe making this a pick of mine heading into the year, because we had looked at this level right there, 550, breaking higher. It fell back in. And I remember sitting right here with Neil talking about this, and even with you guys on the show, being like, I actually thought this was a good little hold here. Holding the 200, holding the 50, now breaking higher. So I don't know when I'm eventually going to get involved with. I don't own any of these names, but for me, LAC is a play, man. I think this can go today. Breaking through $7, this little top right there. So I should have probably added this to the watch list for myself, but I think LAC goes Lithium of America. This was one of the initial looks back in October, and now with the Greenland, someone in the chat was like, man, it was so obvious as USAR and all these rare earth plays once Greenland was in play. And smarter trader than me loaded up, and I just didn't have the wherewithal to do that, and we definitely should have, man. I mean, this Greenland talk was mid last week, so there goes LAC. So I really like this play, and I think we could put this on the radar today for a name that can go a little bit more than this for sure. Break through that $7 marker, and I like Lithium of America today. I mean, we'll all be looking at USAR. I'm just trying to find another name that might be able to go. We have seen MP start to go as well. Okay, so not that bad. I was looking at the short float there, 7.8% on Lithium America. So let's wait to see if LAC takes out $7. I like it. $7 to $7.50 almost seems too easy. So that might be a quick little 7 or 8% there on a breakthrough $7. Hasn't done it yet today. Chilling out at the high of the day with a lot of opportunity here today. So LAC, one to look at as well. But you know, back over to the desk as we'll go about their next topic here. And something else that, you know, rare earth might not see a stop today. And there goes silver up another 5%. Looks like it wants to march higher. We got it on our list and talking about that now at the desk with Sharif and Brendan.
Real quick first, Apple with a couple of things. As you mentioned, actually, there is a new AirTag. So brand new AirTag just announced with expanded connectivity range and improved, quote unquote, findability for the new AirTag. This, meanwhile, is that, what was it called again? The no, it's not the loop, the Unity connected loop. So it's a watch band.
By the way,
it's a very
Brendan,
Christmas-themed watch band, by the way.
It feels very like a lot of tie-dye on there, a lot of, you know, very 90s. But I want to mention the Apple AirTag, the new one, it's supposed to be less hackable. So a lot of people, what they were doing, they were removing the beeping or the noise or the speaker inside of it so that they can place it in people's bags and them not know that it's falling. So it's going to be a lot harder to tamper with this time around, which is kind of cool.
I always found those, you always get that like instant panic when if you're traveling, you get somewhere, your phone hasn't totally connected yet, and you look up your AirTag and it's still like in the place you left from. And they forgot my bag.
It hasn't updated.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go to silver. Yeah, as we mentioned to start things off here, just an absolute monster. SLV, the ETF, sitting here. We're still just chopping around right below $100, up 50% since December here.
Ridiculous, Brendo. The spot silver price up 5.9, up to 109.10. The futures up 7.5 to 108.8. There's an arb there, guys, between the futures and the spot. Critical minerals pivot, though, and the reason we've been seeing such strength on this is because the U.S. Department of Interior recently reclassified silver as a critical mineral as a result of its high conductivity. It makes it kind of indispensable for batteries and AI-driven semiconductor boom. Separately, SoGen reporting that ETF inflows are the primary driver for why silver is continuing to boom in this way. Major reserves in London as well are following due to supply side risks. And the Shanghai premium, we talked to you guys about this on the midday show. Buyers in China are actually paying $10 an ounce above premium above the spot price over the London prices, I should say, signaling, you know, that intense physical demand that there is for silver in Asia.
There was just relentless bid in SLV going back to Thursday and then Friday, same story. Wasn't overly volatile or aggressive, but just marching to the upside right into the weekend. Here we are gapping higher, Obi.
All right, guys, here's a medical device company to keep an eye on. NView Medical, that's the ticker FEED, F-E-E-D. The company designs and markets a guided feeding tube platform to hospitals across the United States. Today, the majority of hospitals do this procedure blindly, leading to unavoidable injuries from misplacements. Think of this platform as a GPS for feeding tube placement, which can improve patient safety and streamline how care teams work. What stands out to me is the growing appetite for this platform throughout the United States hospitals and how their tech fits right into clinical needs. Today, they're already in 38 hospitals. As hospitals push for safer, more efficient solutions, OnView looks like a company building scalable technology with real-world demand behind it. Definitely one to watch here. So yeah, no, silver definitely one to watch as well as it continues to build higher and higher structures. Talking about potential squeezes happening throughout throughout the institutional landscape at the same time. Spot silver is holding above 100, pretty decent, decent like sustain above 100. We kind of pushed up. bit of a strong push, and then 105s to 110s is where we've been going. So SLV, I know a lot of people are using this as a vehicle to take a look and trade silver. We saw strong close on Friday. Again, we saw some of that overnight and weekend action on spot silver today. Gapping up here up into 100, 149 is the pre-market highs here, and definitely looking at this range at the same time here, Sean, looking like a potential breakout play. We'll see if there's a continued bid, but I really like this consolidation that's happening here in the pre-market session at the same time. Now, we've got to keep an eye out on silver futures if we're going to be trading this, and we're going to be participating in this, because that's where the moves and the structures are kind of more, you're missing information on the chart if you just look at SLV. You have to look at silver futures, because they actually trade with volume pretty much around the clock. So let's see, you got to reference this structure with that on the futures chart, but the breakout of some of this pre-market range, I'll be looking for a hold above 100 on SLV to kind of exercise that idea.
Yeah, I was looking, here's another name, Pan American, up 8% again. Like, this name continues to climb higher as well. So forget about looking, well, don't forget about it, but you can also look at SLV. SLV is on my radar here today as well. Sharif, Obi just did the work there, $100.50 long. We're going to find out if that can wind up holding. We've already broken it, but that's the pre-market high. So we're going to look at $100.50 to break that pre-market. Really, really like silver there. If it cuts VWAP, comes into play, we're going to use that as a long as well. But this is a good looking chart as well, man. Breaking through $58, Pan American here, you know, grab a miner, grab another name instead of SLV itself. But this just continues to climb through the roof. But yeah, for me, silver, play the momentum. And I know I mentioned that it's pulled back a little bit when I was throwing it back there to Brendan the first time, back down to 98.50. The nervous hands about silver is the fact that even when you punch long, you still feel like, because of how parabolic this thing is going, it can easily fall back in. And we had a couple stop outs there on Friday where we were long and then, you know, had to get stopped out a little bit. But as you can see here, this is the 200 period moving average, this green line. It really held it pretty much all Friday. We didn't come close to breaking it. We did there, but held. We did there and held as well. So this 200 period moving average is now 97.50. We'll see if that winds up coming into play. But hey, man, if everyone else is going to punch long, I'm going to try it as well. I mean, in order to get up here, we're going to have to give another 2% into SLV. So that still makes sense. I think we can get up that 10% today. So let's just wait for a $100.50 break long. And then you can play it back to VWAP. I mean, at that time, I'm not sure where it's going to be, but that's $99. I think it's worth giving it a little bit of a shout here on SLV in case it just keeps on running. But yeah, you know, we talked about this with Brian Shannon last week, the metals company, another great opportunity to go long through this name as well. Breaking out right there, TMC. What a good call by Brian Shannon that was a couple weeks ago. I know he said he got stopped out and he was out of it, but still, like, this is all part of the play, right? There's a nice extension here on TMC. So damn, man, got to get involved in some of these plays. They just keep on making moves to the high side. The only name that I was able to get a hold of a while back, about 6 months ago, was gold. And although that's been a real nice move, I didn't put that much money in it because I didn't really believe in it as a pure hedge, but it's just upside right there, GLD as well. So everything in the metal space looks like it wants to go. Neil made a play last week in FCX. Freeport-McMoRan is going to be his play for the year. They reported that's a copper play, and you can see they're going higher as well this year. So everything's been working in the metal space, and I don't really see any reasons for this stuff to slow down. So metals, all aboard, man, and just today's just another day. Hey, if it's a day that ends in Y, guys, in the back, then metals are going to be up. So, all right, CoreWeave and Nvidia. Let's go talk about that. I know Obi had a short. Looks like he's out of that. He'll talk about it, but let's go over and see what's going on with CoreWeave and Nvidia. I have it marked down here, CoreWeave today, but not until $95. Let's give me the 200 period moving average. Let's go back and find the story with the boys.
Yeah, if you missed it early on this morning, because right when we came on at 8 o'clock, NVIDIA with a $2 billion investment, straight equity, into CoreWeave here. We're about to take out the highs once again for CRWV. This all ahead of, still a couple of weeks away from NVIDIA earnings specifically, but
always late.
We'll hear from basically all their customers in the next 10 days or so.
Exactly. That's the beauty about NVIDIA being so late. You can almost like gauge their revenue based on the hyperscaler demand. So well said there, Brendo. So here's the deal. NVIDIA investing another $2 billion into the cloud infrastructure provider. They're buying Class A common stock at $87.20 a pop. This nearly doubles Nvidia's current investment into CoreWeave, and it makes them the second largest shareholder. The fresh capital is earmarked for AI factory buildouts, and they're targeting 5 gigawatts in data center capacity by 2030. CoreWeave has about $55.6 billion in revenue backlog. That is revenue, or that is demand from customers that they currently can't meet because they don't have enough compute. And Jensen's saying, look, this aims to meet the extraordinary demand for AI factories and the neo clouds like Nebius as well, reinforcing the massive enterprise adoption for AI tech. So let's see how this does today.
That being said, there is, I mean, obviously a big move. Not a heck of a lot of volume behind this so far this morning. We'll see what happens at the open here, but decent enough anyways as far as the gap's going to be.
Let's talk like CoreWeave. I mean, we've seen the U.S. government take it. I mean, this is Nvidia, but we've seen stakes been taken in companies, and those companies continue to work. So up 10% here for CoreWeave. I mean, obviously Nvidia and their investing side of their investing wing, I guess. They have some shares in Intel. Now we're going to look at CoreWeave here. I don't really know why they're deploying capital, but there must be something that they see that they like, and I don't know if that's in order for CoreWeave to go in. And we just talked about it there, investing this $2 billion into the company. It must be something. Trying to break through the 200 period moving average, just sort of developed right now. 50 period trying to slope up as well. We do have a nice little base here. I mean, it's such a wide range. Like that's $90 down to 70. So there is a little bit of a wide base here, but you know, we do hold, and it does tick down into $94 there on Friday. And then this base right there at 88 seems to have been a good little spot. So I think it's up and away now. I mean, the momentum should carry this name a little forward. I was waiting for a dip to see if there was going to be a play. I do have it written down here on the note to take out this if it gets back into 95 long there. And that's sort of the play back into Friday. I was like, it shouldn't create a negative move for CoreWeave. Like it shouldn't go red. It's up 10%. So if it does fall back in, I could see some profit taking, as there's a lot of traders that may be looking to invest into some of those above names, the rare earth names, the SLV. So take some of the profits that maybe you've had in CoreWeave on this random note and dump it into something that's a little bit more hot. So I would say it's a nice move, just coming back in. Could be toppy action here of 103. And someone noted that there was some notes there that Obi was going short. I know he's been out of that on CoreWeave, but we both do kind of like the play here today. And so I think CoreWeave continues to work on this, and we'll see if it continues to go higher. I would say potentially take some profits here, put it into somewhere else. So if CoreWeave does come back down to the downside, 95 to 96 isn't a horrible space. And I just want to show you this. This was basically, what was going on here in the Toronto area. So you do have like this is a walkway right here. So yeah, big time, man. This is what I'm talking about. 50 to 60 centimeters, 55 centimeters officially in my neighborhood last night. So a centimeter is 2.5 of those in an inch. So you're looking at, around 20 inches or so of snow yesterday. And that's just one small example. All right, it'll be 5 minutes left. Do you want to talk about CoreWeave? Or?
Sure, yeah, I was involved a little earlier. I just want to kind of feel it out here. So I did initially take the long above 102s. It seemed like we were gonna push a little bit higher. We did get above 103s, but not quite to that 104 initial reaction high, pre-market high. Pulls back in, consolidates for a good amount of time here, about 10-15 minutes. Tried the short as well, but getting stopped out of that as we're just chopping sideways in and around VWAP. But coming in off of the open, I'm just going to be looking for a simple opening drive. If we can get through 104 and sustain some of that action, maybe looking to get involved. Or if we drop back down, get through this 100, this consolidation low as well. I'm willing to go both ways on this one, which I already have in the pre-market session. So we'll see. Fresh news. We'll see how it holds up above this. This is also a weekly breakout area here at that 103, 104 at the same time. So closely watching that for a potential push.
All right, let's continue along here. UNG back to the upside in a pretty big way this morning here. This is, if you zoom out, this is a daily chart. Thing bounced off $10 to the T, and we're back to 14, 15 area, which is top end of the range again. all because basically of what Sean was just showing everyone.
Ridiculous move, Brendo. I mean, obviously, it's not a shock as to why this is running. The cold spell is probably hitting you guys, and well, maybe not as aggressively as it's hitting us, but no shock there. This thing's been up substantially since the beginning of the year. I'm talking about UNG, 16 3/4, again, largely due to the cold weather, but we did get the strategic reserve of nat gas last week on Thursday at 10:30, and you know that it was more withdrawn than we had anticipated, hence why the price continues to go up another 2% this morning.
I skipped over AppLovin there.
Yep.
APP on a big bounce this morning as well, in case we just run out of time. AppLovin on an upgrade this morning, catching a bid off of very key levels here, guys, for this one. There's this gap, if you zoom out onto a daily chart, going all the way back to September, and then that wick that held that, filled that gap to a T. We're right back down here again.
Yeah, nice call here from Needham analyst Bernie McTurnan. He upgraded app from hold to buy. He's at a price target of $700. He's citing confidence in the company's trajectory after the stock pulled back from highs about a month ago. He's also citing revised estimates. He said Needham significantly hiked the e-commerce revenue estimate from 2060 up to 1.45 billion. That's up from the 1.05 billion they had last time. They see the key growth driver here as self-service advertising. Let's see how this does.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a $500-600 stock, so not necessarily a day trader, guys, but APP looking good.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like it for those exact levels. I mean, Brendan just showed you, you get that gap and go a little bit there in and around. I mean, I have it up right here, so kind of the same thing that I was just going to show. I don't know. I've never traded this on the show or as a day trade, but yeah, there's that fill there. Like a nice little gap that gave it all the way back, and then you're now coming back into those levels. So you got to be weary of some of these upgrades, because is someone just stuck? Do they think it's like a good technical bounce, or they actually think that this business does have some upside to it? So I'm actually going to do a bull and a bear case here on AppLovin, and then let you guys know either later today or tomorrow about what I think about this stock, because I think this is in a spot where it might have to be bought. Like, you are now down from $730, and we got to hurry up here because we're getting on in time here, but that's $730 down here to 5 and change. That's 27%. So you get a nice little pullback here for APP, a name that was recently added to the S&P 500. Something has to be working right in this company, but there it goes, down $6 right there on the moves lower. So, all right, Nat Gas running AppLovin. Give us a take on whatever you want. Less than a minute left, Obi.
Yeah, AppLovin, I traded a little bit of this I think it was last week, Sean, on that gap down, I think. Yeah, coming in on Tuesday. It's been moving around, but you gotta be wary of this one. Sometimes the spread can be about $2-3 even, and coming in. But yeah, gap up, definitely have a bit of a watch on this one. But yeah, no, good luck to everyone on the day today. Bell is about to ring in about 20 seconds, so may the odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah, we like that.
And let's try to make some good decisions today. Good decisions. That's what makes the difference, man. And really slam into the stuff that's working. That's one of the things I'm trying to get a little bit better at as well. CoreWeave and USAR off of the open. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's get it going here. Let's see how we open up. CoreWeave through 100 maybe, but we'll see how this action comes.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait to see what happens with silver here. Obviously, the market's now open. Silver's a continuous trade, so we're not too worried about the market opening up. But I am still looking at that $100.50 break. Wow. If that comes through, we're gonna try that for sure. I want to look at Apple long here near 250. Would rather things settle down a little bit, but here goes Apple right now to the downside, trying to break into our 250 area. Let's see if it wants to hold out right now. Apple long in and around this 250 area, but the market's pulling back in. Let's let the market tell us what it wants to do. Right back into the 200 period moving average. So that's a spot here for Apple. Remember, I liked it today, thought that it was a good upgrade there from JP Morgan ahead of earnings, but here we go, Apple. Just trying to bounce off 250, a trade that I'm looking at pretty early right now. AAPL, people saying Nvidia is also popping. Neither of us are in a position. Those will show up near the lows, near the bottom of our screen right there. Looks like Nvidia trying to go upside with that CoreWeave. I know you're probably looking at CoreWeave right now, CRWV. So, oh wow, 105 right there, Obi.
It went right off of the open. I missed that 104 push. But getting involved here once again as it pulls right back in, I'm like, all right, fine. Missed the opening range, pre-market range high break, but I do want to get involved with this one. Let's see how this one pans out as we chop around this 104 area, 105.95s is the current day high on this one. Again, the spread being anywhere between 20 pennies to about $1 at times here, Sean. So got to be wary with this one. 106 is potentially coming in, but that was a very strong slam back into that 104 at the same time. So let's see if we hold this 104 area or we continue a little bit higher. USAR straight through 30 off of the open, coming right back into some of those pre-market levels here, 32, 33s. And my phone's going off probably because I'm getting a lot of trading view alerts here. So I put on a bunch of alerts normally, and then off of the open is when those DMs really start going there and
oh boy,
coming into some of those places. What do you got going on?
Dollar Club is already here, my guys. There it is on Apple, man. Our #1 trade idea written down here at 250. There it goes, man. We'll take some out at 250.75 there. We'll take another piece out there at 251 and see if it can continue to climb higher as it's getting ready to get hit back into the downside. So we'll send the alarms out. We'll send the fires off there. Nice trade so far there, but I'm using this low as our out. If we break through 249.75, we're gone on this one. So far so good here on a move up. So that's not a horrible play there. Let's let it go, man. Let's see if it wants to go. And there goes Tesla breaking through our levels. We're never, ever taking, shout out to Chris Jericho, a bid here on Tesla early. Like I did on Apple there, very dangerous on Tesla. This name could fall like through many different places. So we're going to wait to see if there is finally a bid coming through for Tesla. I liked it last week against these levels, but those did not hold at all. So 445 right off the jump, still downside, but I'm looking over here, man. Maybe this 440 is a jam here for Tesla. So let's let that settle down, but there it goes, man. Back upside there for Apple. We like that trade. We're still waiting for silver. Come on, Apple. There it goes, man. Let's put another out here. There it is. We'll take 15s. Okay. Nice move higher there for AAPL. Now your official Dollar Club member. Shout out to our good friend Max right there. Okay. Wow, there it is, Obi. Bang, that's our first trade of the day right there. It is on your sticky note, and it's a banger right there. It's Apple long at 250 on the JP Morgan upgrade, man. It falls right into our lap early. Obi, we're very, very patient with it. Ciao over there to Apple. Miss Adara, it's nice to see you. I haven't really seen you today, but thanks. Oh, by the way, I said to Adara, I was like, what's up with Apple? She's like, JP Morgan upgrade. I'm like, bang, long, big trade alert right there. Adara, what you got for us?
Yeah, I want to mention here TTD. Now, this is very much to the downside. Actually just broke a new intraday low. A couple minutes before the open, for whatever reason, is the time they decided to announce that they're reaffirming their Q4 2025 guidance. Now they're seeing revenue here at $840 million and adjusted EBITDA at $375 million. Not sure how that compares to estimates, but this stock has been quite beaten up as of late. A recent S&P 500 edition, but they also were one of the worst performers in the index last year. Back to you.
Great, thank you very much. Yeah, no, this action on CoreWeave is absolutely wild here. The swipes up and down $1, sometimes $2, just chopping around just below this 106 and 104. The swipes are absolutely crazy there, Sean, but that opening drive through that 104 gave you almost to $2, and now we're holding this prior week high, maybe structure high if you want to call it, at 104s here as of right now. But USAR holding up quite well, I would say maybe even better as it pushes, just grinding a little higher and higher here. So the opening, I guess, opening range high, if you're looking at a 3 minute here, is coming in at 30, and that's pushed all the way almost up to $32 at the same time. There's the high day break here on CoreWeave coming in. So yeah, it seems like that was the place to get in. 104s looking quite nice. Maybe we hit that 110s here, Sean, if this continues to push even higher. But absolute strength. The market tailwind is definitely helping this one out as the market continues to push higher and higher here and bringing us some stronger bid action at the same time. So 104 is held pretty well on CoreWeave. Now we're pushing a little bit higher. So I definitely have to kind of get out of this one and rethink, as the long was definitely not wrong there, Sean.
No, I think it was, you know, well thought out play. I mean, sometimes they don't work out. Just like this Apple trade could eventually come back in. We did get another piece out there at the day's high. Let's check out what else is going on here. Let's check out some silver just real quick. I mean, very, very range bound. I can't believe we're saying that about SLV, but very, very range bound here early. We still do wait for silver to take out this high of $100.50. I'm still trying to go long if that does wind up happening, but I have it on my other side note here on on my charts just to see what is going on. Oh, geez. Right now, I did not watch. Joe, how was that fight, by the way? Okay, yeah, I saw that Patty versus Gaethje or whatever. Yeah, and that was an upset, right? So nice move there for Patty lost, didn't he? Pimblett, yeah. So, okay, Netflix, anyways, long story short, it was on Paramount, but there goes Netflix to the downside there. So that was almost straight downside fire right there for Netflix. So just watching out on that chart, what's going on with NFLX, nice move lower. We still are in our Apple, that's $1.20 in the money. Silver's trying to go right now, so that's something there. I did want to see LAC. I said a $7 break might be, okay, perfect. I want to get involved in these names, so a nice pullback here for lithium might be the play for sure on a little bit of a pullback for the longer term play. USAR, all right. I mean, that's a big move there off the open, up to $32 as well. So there's a play right there. Adara, I just heard something about Canada. I'm not sure if there was something there, if Trump is speaking, but she's going to go have a quick little look in that one. DraftKings whipping around here. Go ahead.
Yeah, for what it's worth, nothing is on Trump's schedule until 1 p.m. today, and I think all of his events are closed press, though there is a White House press conference with the White House press secretary at 1 as well. Okay,
there we go. Thank you, Adara. That's why, I mean, talk about, look, watch us for the trading and for, you know, everything like that and get involved with your ideas, put them in the chat there. But you are not going to find a better place to get live news. It's not possible. So thank you, everybody, for watching us for that reason as well. And a big shout out, I mean, Adara has the real tough job around here, reporting, making sure that all these stories are exactly what's good. So we want to thank Adara for that and all of her expertise in the space. Okay, yes.
Yeah, so the headline was just that Carney's saying they're finding new trading partners and new opportunities make them less dependent on the U.S. I think that's probably what you heard.
All right, boom, boom, pow on that one. Yeah, so thanks to Adara for that. But there it goes, man. Let's see if Apple can continue to go higher. And guess what's pumping right now, man? It is silver. We're going to go long on the break of 150. So let's get ready to go, man. We just broke it right now, right there through $100. Let's go silver. Let's go Apple. We on one today, baby. Good day. Glad we came in. We're able to shovel that snow. Get that snow out of here. Right now, we'll come in now and, you know, make a little bit of cash right here. DraftKings upside, but I'll throw it back over to you, Obi.
Yeah, this CoreWeave's holding up quite well here, Sean. 107.5. So that opening drive came in quite nicely and working out really well. I'm just looking for a potential pull into this prior structure. The market, again, like I said, strong bid coming in right off of the open, all the way up to 25.8 here, but maybe taking a bit of a pullback as we come into the close or the later half of this 15-minute candle here. Just looking, you know, you guys already know I like to work with 5-minute, 15-minute candles sometimes.
What is going
5 minutes left on this 15-minute candle to finish printing, and the markets are, catching a bit. Distinctly different from the action coming into the week last week, Sean, as we saw that gap down, maybe potential continuation to the downside. So that dip definitely got bought up. And we were kind of calling it as well. Maybe that was a taco trade as well.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely taco trade.
Like every single dip in this market continues to get bought right back up. So how far can we continue to go and continue to keep pushing that? Every little scare, you get that gap down, strong selling, and I was just like, yeah, I don't really trust that selling way too much last week. And lo and behold, we're kind of coming back into some of those levels once again here. And that Apple's working out great.
Apple is going basically parabolic. It's going meme crazy right now. I've sort of coined that with Nvidia here, but you could see Apple right now, almost $3 in the money, Obi. And where did we find that from? We didn't just pick this out of our, you know what? We found it right there, man. We went Apple picking today, long at 250. That came in perfectly off the open. It is your number one trade idea off the sticky note. Make sure you go watch it every day. We'll see what's going on with it, but you know, some days we're right. And there goes Apple right now. Okay, you know what? I was waiting for 80s. We'll put an offer there. It gets them out at 30s. Now we'll see what we can do at the high side. We still are in 45% of this trade right now. It's Apple, and it is just, honestly, it's feeling pretty good for me here, Apple. DKNG, we were just talking about that earlier. I was saying that, like, you can't get away from all of these ads. You know, you're sitting there watching whatever you're watching, whatever game you're watching this weekend. You know, congratulations if you are a fan of the Seattle Seahawks and or the New England Patriots. You will be having quite a good time over the next little while there because it's a Super Bowl. All right, DraftKings right now up 2%. They got hit, right? I mean, I sold my DraftKings in all of this malaise right here as we weren't doing too much. We did have a downside sort of sputter there during earnings. It did sort of teeter out around that $26, $27 mark, and a nice move back up to 30s and then 36, and now we get hit right back down again for DraftKings. So potentially into a little bit of an area of support there, DKNG. But wow, man, yeah, just extensions continuing here on Apple. Jensen right now talking about demand for their products seems to be incredible. Well-spoken CEO. I mean, that's always great to hear. But there it goes now, just reaching new heights here, 189 for NVDA. My guy's over here on CoreWeave, so I got to go find out from you, Obi, what's going on with CoreWeave, because Nvidia, they like that purchase apparently with CoreWeave. Nvidia shares going higher there, AMD shares going lower. So here we go. This has been sort of a tale of two different names recently. AMD and Nvidia, they don't move likely together. So a nice move there for Nvidia. And then I'm going to throw it over to you just quickly. There's a pullback. We nailed the level on silver, but it was the short, not the long. So SLV pulling right back in off that $100.50 marker. Again, if we do get something near the 200 period, 98 and change, I think that's worth a look. But it's Apple for me today and CoreWeave for you.
Yeah, no, definitely not working out here so far on CoreWeave. But like I said before, market tailwind not helping out either. The long was definitely not wrong. I actually punched that 104, Sean, and I was just like, yeah, it missed. It missed my order. We were already trading at 104 halves by the time, so I didn't cross far enough. And I think my cross is not that aggressive here. It's just I think it's only about like 10 pennies. So when the spread itself is about 15 pennies, I hit that 104, and I'm just like, all right, well, what do I take the next trade? The next trade might be the short, but absolutely not as we continue to push a little bit higher. So I am keeping it light, not really tight, but keeping it very light here and looking for a potential pushback into maybe towards that VWAP, maybe pull back in there. 108.65 is currently the day high. Jesus. And looking to get a little aggressive with this one when and if that backside does come in, but I'll keep it light. But at the same time, let's see what else is going on here.
We have a super chat if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let's talk about.
Okay, it's right up your alley here. So, oopsies, here it is right here. So, what about having a look at GME? So I'm going to send this to Adara here for a little bit of a story. Yep. Watch GME, several catalysts. So we'll fire that to Adara for the catalysts. And what does it look like on a chart? Because, hold on, just come over to me quickly right now. Oh. It is not $1, it is not $2, it is now $3 right now in the money for Apple as we get excited for that trade right there. AAPL now up 2+% and $3 for your boy. We just took a piece out, still 30% in. All right. Actually, Adara, were you able to find anything on GameStop? Let's go there first.
I think when people are talking about catalysts, they're probably talking about last week with the Ryan Cohen purchase. Again, in case you guys missed it, he did purchase some shares here, 500,000 shares to be specific, in the open market. Now, I did not find anything since then. People just talking about apparently how he's invested this money in the stock, but again, that's going back to last week. So probably just ongoing excitement here. We know this name does have that meme attention, so that could be what people are getting excited about this. But again, this is from last week. There's nothing new here.
Okay, all right. So yeah, no, thank you for the super chat. Several catalysts in play today. It looks like it may want to squeeze, saying WCM good tune. So thank you for the super chat there. Today, is it doing relative volume? That's the first question I'm going to ask. And absolutely yes, it was doing about 2 times in the crumble in the pre-market session. Not a lot of volume, but relative volume nonetheless. Off of the open, we're doing again in and around the same 2 times our vol. Let's see what it's been doing on the daily here as well. Wow, look at all those anchors we're trading below. Oh, wow. But yeah, breaking maybe potentially that 24. I think that's what I'd be looking for. I like daily breakouts here, and you can see here that 24 exact is that daily breakout level, and that was kind of a high from December 9th of last year, so just a few weeks ago there, and then next level after that 24 half. So a lot of room to go if it does go, and in a lot of headwind, I would say, on this one. Because think about it, man. This thing split adjusted. Remember, went all the way up to 64s there in May of 2024, right? And then pulls back in. We could never really break back below 20. And best believe there are bags that are still holding this from the 30s, from the 40s, from the 60s. Again, split adjusted. Don't forget. But yeah, no, it's definitely going to be on watch here if we can continue to pull up a little bit higher. But I do want to keep in mind when it's meme names like this, Sean, there are people who are still holding from some of these higher prices and just willing to take the break even when it gets back up there. Yeah. So that's the headwind that you have to watch out for. So sellers on board potentially on a higher time frame, but we'll have to wait and see if the buying is finally back and the game is on GameStop. But right. Yeah, USAR coming right back in. So what a reversion on this one. Only could get up to 32s and then pulling right back in into these pre-market highs. So that long not really coming in.
Scammed here or what?
25s was that prior day. Yeah. Right, prior week high. So it's just like we gapped up like crazy, all the way up to 40 this morning. So if you woke up early and you had the long in USAR coming into those prior weeks, because we talked about the daily breakout, weekly structure breakout was at $19 and some change. And all of the move happened last week, and then we gap up into $40. So that's a lot. That's a lot to do in 2 weeks. It's 100%. Right? So I am definitely kind of watching this one here. Maybe if we break some of these pre-market low levels at 28s, maybe make a beeline down towards that 25 area prior week highs there. What's up, Adara?
Here on AB, Alliance Bernstein, I'm seeing reports suggesting that there's some chatter around the idea that Nancy Pelosi, United States Representative, could have added this to her portfolio. So again, as far as I know, this isn't confirmed yet, but there is reportedly some chatter that AB has been added to Nancy Pelosi's portfolio. Back to you.
I just want to say a new trade right here. We hit that. OB was going over some stuff. I'm in silver, so let's go right now. This is what we're doing, man. We're cooking up some profits today, boys. Nice move there in SLV. We just punched along into 65. I said if we got anything into VWAP, we like ye a lot. And there goes silver right now, hopefully continuously moving a little longer. If we do get that $100.50 break, maybe we can add to it. But we are now in silver at a decent spot. I like the level that we're at right now on SLV, trying to break through 100. We'll take out a little bit more here just in case. Just heard in my ear, Carney is not planning a snap election. I did not know that there was that was going to be happening here in Canada, but just in my ear now, in case you guys are playing the US dollar or something against that play, you can check out the Canadian dollar and whatnot. Okay, so there goes SLV, move higher right now into that space. We can have a quick little look here, but first let's go over Beta Pro, because savvy Canadian traders looking to boost their exposure can now tap into the Nasdaq 100 and the S&P 500 with Beta Pro 3 times daily levered ETF. So go check these guys out. They feature built-in FX hedging. This aims to amplify short-term market moves while minimizing the impact of currency swings. Whether or not you're feeling bullish or bearish, these ETFs are built for active day traders ready to take on the market. Please read the full risk disclosure in the prospectus at betapro.ca, of course, before investing. So yeah, thanks to them for hooking it up with us. Beta Pro, go make sure you check them out for sure. But yeah, now we are just really going here. Wow, we're doing it again on the show, man. Like I was saying, no Neil, no problem. We've got OB here, we've got Joe here. We're ready to rock and roll. There's a monster play on silver. There's 70 cents in the money on silver. We're $2.50 in the money on Apple. We're deuces over on this side, man. 2 for 2. There it goes, man. Nice little play there. And yeah, some of these plays, like I was saying, did we get scammed? Because I like LAC. I'm not in it, but this is coming right into a level that I like. So we're going to wait to see what happens with rare earth. Oh boy, man, what a play on silver. Getting ready to break through $100.50. Let's see what happens right here with it going just a little bit higher. It's LAC making moves now. Sorry, it's SLV making moves back there. Is your CoreWeave finally settling down over there, my guy?
It's starting to pull back in here, but again, we could get that continuation. Like I said, that is the much better trade. Again, 104s all the way to 108s. But this chop is absolutely wild here. I'm looking for potential come into VWAP here. I did say I want to get a little bit aggressive, so I got roughly half on the left side, and so far a little more on the right side here as we pull back in. But VWAP's coming in and around that 105. Let's see if buyers hold on, man. Buyers are very dominant off of the open, and I was talking about that market tailwind. You can see here the second 15-minute candle so far, with 9 minutes left to print, is going a little red, maybe some pullback here as well, but that would definitely come in handy as that confluence potentially comes in here as well. But again, it is not, I was going to say earnings day one, but news day one trade, so the buyers can be relatively fresh at the same time, but is this move too far too fast? Let's take some measurements to figure out what this move actually is here in terms of a percentage point. We'll just take it from the open, and I was saying earlier that I tried to punch that 104, man, and it just not like it did not get filled, and I think I'm only crossing like 5 to 15 pennies. I got to check what it is on the system here, but no, I like to use a Frex cross, which will get me on any gate. And I love that key, man. It's just like it's kind of like a market key almost.
Has it been working for you?
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay,
it's
good.
Amazing.
Me too. Yeah, I like it. Yep.
It's just the thing is like here on this desk, I have to press the key, then press enter. But at my main desk, I just press the key and it's insta fill. Because if I want it, I want it. I'm hitting keys for a reason.
You can just change that fill.
No, I know. But it's being a little diversified in my attention. I just choose not to do it here.
Yep.
But when I'm really honed in and focused, like that is definitely the way to do it. I don't need to press multiple keys when I'm pushing in tension onto the market. But we're pulling back into 105s here. So, but that was a 6.5% push off of the open there, Sean. And VWAP is
silver is
coming in here at these lows. What's silver?
We're $1 in the money now on silver. Let's just go, man. I'm not playing around no more. There goes SLV. We told you. I don't know if Joe. I know he's watching the show, but Joe, I discovered SLV just last week, man, and we've been pumping that name like all the time now. I traded it every single day last week. There goes SLV, man, taking out new highs right here. I still like the $100 spot, $100.50 spot. So I think we can go push a little bit long here if we can get it extending through this area. We're 75 cents in the money. It's a good trade. We're starting to take a little bit off rate. Well, not a little bit. We're out of half already right here at these levels. I mean, this is where we were thinking about it. So I think we can go long on a breakthrough on SLV here through that $100.50 mark. This has been your high. There it goes. Let's go. I'm in more. This is the high there, breaking through $100.50. This is exactly what we wrote down on the sticky note earlier. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. As here we go, man. Traders got to trade. And there it is. Money. Yeah, we like that song. But nice move higher for now. Let's see what happens with silver. As there it goes, man. We take that break through $100.50. Nice extension play there now, and it's working out, man. We take it through VWAP. Now let's see how high we can fly on SLV. 70 cents or $1.50 in the money off our initial buy, but it's Apple also going to the high side. So yeah, man, so far so good. Everything working out. We're showing up here today, man. No matter the weather, we're showing up. We're coming in and hopefully putting on some decent trades for you. Let's see if silver wants to continue higher. Maybe that was it. And if it is, that's fine. We're going to stop out here on a break back down below. I was going to use VWAP, but now that we've punched in again, maybe back into $100 we can sort of stop out. But things are working out for us so far. Nice move there on silver and on Apple. Apple trying to slow down a little bit though. We're getting back up here to 53. Let's take a piece out.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of watching this CoreWeave dance in and around this 106. So I guess 104 is that key level. That's all the way down here. No idea if it's going to get all the way down there, but we talked about the market at the beginning there, catching maybe a potential red second 15-minute candle, but guess what? We bid right back up. So maybe potential continuation here. But USAR, man, this one, I know a lot of people had eyes on this one, and I talked about this, some of these levels that I defined in the pre-market session, just kind of roughly there. You can see we did come into that first level there here at 31s that was above the price and catching a bit of a sell back down into these pre-market lows. So that's coming in at 27.50, and we're making a bit of a beeline straight through that, especially on the break of this consolidation that lasted from 8 a.m. into the open. So that's about an hour and 15 minutes. That low coming in at 29.30. So if you took this opening range, what was the opening range low? Opening range low was just at 30s. So you can see here that trade is coming in quite nicely, and maybe a wick of this prior level here where we stepped down, bid up to 31s, and then couldn't really go more. So stuck in a bit of this range that we made in this pre-market session, but it is stepping down. It's doing more of the same as what I'm seeing here on USAR. We slapped up all the way to 40, and I did talk about this last week. We did a crazy move last week as well. That 19 breakout. And remember, last week was a holiday shortened week. We only had about 3 or 4 days, 4 days worth of trading here. You can see here opening up, breaking out of that 19 level, and then pushing higher and higher, closing at 24s, and then catalyst over the weekend. Yeah, that's over 100% within I would say less than 5 trading days, right?
Right.
Within a week here on USAR. So selling, yeah, maybe it makes a little bit of sense in hindsight, but going to continue to watch this one. Let's make some structure. But what are you guys trading? I'm curious to know, and we can take a look at some of that as well at the same time. So some of the names that I was watching off of Open. Wow, look at AppLovin.
What?
APP
Taking off?
Straight to the upside.
Ah!
Pre-market high hold as well. 544 is on the pullback.
Like that.
Holds pre-market highs like a champ.
Go Apple.
And then continues to push higher. So 544 is all the way to 558s currently on AppLovin. Another name I was watching, Sean, was IONQ.
Yes,
Again,
yes.
why was I watching this? Again, quantum maybe a little bit.
There's a story there.
Play. There was a story as well. Look at the relative volume increasing in the pre-market session. And again, in the Blue Ocean session, while other stocks did kind of a little bit of a chop and then a push, it had a steady consecutive bid all night long into the 4 a.m. close there as well of that market. So yeah, coming in off of the open with a very strong bid here on IONQ. BNAI.
Yeah, let's do that.
Brand Engagement Networks. Now, I really, really liked this one. I was trading this one. I remember sitting beside Sharif on Friday, and I was like, wow, this one is an absolute banger. I really love trading it because it was very, very clean. It pretty much told you what it was going to do before it did it or as it did it. And funny enough, got long going into the close, just gave it, or into the end of the midday session, gave it into 15s, Sean, and right after hours, it goes up to 24s. Not only 24, Sean, we hit a high of $82, and this was at $15 around the midday yesterday. So absolute madness here, halting down, I guess, off of the open, halt up. We had one halt up there as well, back into 52s, but sellers in charge. So I'm watching this one. I haven't really borrowed shares for this just yet, because again, very seller dominant, but that was something that I could have definitely done. 52 breakdown, that pre-market low breakdown. Look at that. If you took this trade on that pre-market low breakdown, it has never looked back, even on the halt up. Opens lower and trades even lower. Opening range low breakdown at 47s. So another $10 down from that, trading at 36.80. So absolute madness on Brand Engagement Network. And great trade there on Apple, man. Just continues to push.
Dude, yeah, it's $3 on Apple. We're almost out of it, though. We only got 15% left on Apple, but it's this trade too, Obi, man. I mean, silver was down there at $99.50. There's our $100.50 break as well. It goes to 101 on silver. We only have 20% left of silver, 10 or 15% left of our Apple trade. And yeah, man, pretty happy today. That is for sure. I don't know why. Like, I was trying to get an answer from Neil. I'll ask him why. But like, I had sold some Intel last week, right before their report. Like, I'm not sure why. You know, we'll see where this play is. But coming back into $44, like, that's breaking. Like, I did not buy back into Intel at all. So this name continues to fall back in, and I don't. You know, really happy, and so far so good, that we were able to get away from that name and sell some of this out of our portfolio last week, right before earnings, man. We got 50, I think we got 53.50s or 54.50s, but whatever it was, it's not 43.50s. So there it goes to the downside, continue movement there. So I'm getting a little nervous about silver. I don't really know why, because I got nervous the first place and started selling some there. And now just there we go. I click another piece out there at 79 as Apple and silver trying to make those moves. There finally making a move back in as well is Nvidia. I just heard you do a little bit of a celebration there. So I'm thinking, well, just because I saw Nvidia.
Someone slapped the bid.
Oh, that's what it was. It's a slapping of the ass.
Yes, slapping of the bid.
Good. Yeah, because I was going to say,
getting slapped off of the open.
But before we go to Adair, just quickly, I did see Nvidia come into the 200 period. I was debating going long there, but I do know that there is that CoreWeave story. So, all right, so far so good there. Nvidia making a move back to the downside. Let's give it back over to Adair and see what she's up to.
Let's talk about this market to start, because really nice push to start the day and the week for the S&P 500, though as of right now, this third 15-minute candle of the day already near the precipice of the low of that last 15-minute candle. So are we going to continue this strength, or we're going to pull back a little bit? Time will tell, but again, 14 minutes left in this 15-minute candle. So let's see if we get a continuation or a bit of a pullback. And what a week this is going to be, guys, because we have earnings from 4 of the Mag 7 companies: Apple, Meta, Tesla, and Microsoft. AAPL with some news, apparently rolling out new air tags, $29 for a single air tag and then $99 for a 4-pack. But AAPL also getting a positive analyst note from JP Morgan, which raised its price target for the stock to $315 ahead of earnings. Let's talk here about USAR, USA Rare Earth. There were reports this one was going to get a government deal. Does confirm here around 7 a.m. today that they're signing a letter of intent, or an LOI, with the U.S. government for $1.6 billion in CHIPS Act funding. There's a lot of strings and different aspects of this deal here, but either way, USAR not quite able to continue with that gap up and struggling a little bit so far off the open. SLV certainly not struggling. This one still at highs above 100 here for SLV. We know precious metals, including silver and gold, have been really strong with ongoing geopolitical tensions and concerns about potential government shutdown once again. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. I'm just on that silver trade before we go over and see what Obi's up to or whatever. I'm going to get out if it breaks this 21 period. So we almost got close to that. It's really sort of watched it the whole way up. Like I said, we just got some more outs there at 50 on the way back down. I don't know if I trust this anymore. We've made good money on this, and I'm not going to let it fall back in. We do now have only 20% left on this trade. So looking to see if it breaks through 20s out of USAR with an offer in the 90s to see if we do get those highs one more time on that space. So that would be an interesting level for me to have a quick little look at there on USAR. But yeah, okay. So that's what we're doing right now. Adara with some more news. Wow, busy over there. What's up, Adara?
Keep an eye on Booz Allen Hamilton, guys. BAH, they reported earnings on Friday morning. So this is a day 2 earnings play, but I'm also seeing reportedly a statement from the Treasury Department reveals that the Treasury has canceled its contracts with Booz Allen Hamilton. So BAH losing some government business, at least reportedly, according to the statement. If I do get any more details, I will keep you posted. Back to you.
Humbug for that one. But Booz Allen Hamilton, I did hear that in my ear, and I wasn't very familiar with the topic there. But Treasury contracts canceled there by the Treasury. 31 separate contracts with them, $4.8 million in annual spend. So, okay, not a great sign there for BAH. Yeah, just my plans are set right here, Obi. So we're $3 in the money. We're looking for a little bit more here on Apple, and then we'll start to get out. But looking for other names as well. Right now, it looks like Uber just hit the 5-minute moving average for me. Yeah, so Uber downside, it looks like pretty good here today. No, not really, actually. I thought this was more like an $85 name, $82 name now for Uber, so not much going on. I know Joe likes this name, and so do I, man. I mean, I've been obviously a big fan of JP Morgan. It is my largest holding in the bank space, and it continues to make new moves higher here today, which is nice to see. So breaking through this $300.50 marker there for Uber, a good one. Okay, man, we did not give you up, man. Never going to give you up. That's silver. Never going to let you down. But there it is, $100. Shout out to Rick Astley. Nice move higher here. Let's get a piece out at 80 if we can, and then just watch this name continue to hopefully mature up through $100 and $101 right there. Nice move on the upside again. So we have some halters here today, man. We had this stock move. This halted on us last week. It looks like it's halting again. Just reopened there at 10:02. So nice move there. Closing, halting higher, move, continues to make moves higher there now. Wow, silver, we actually going to get our 94 fill? There it is. Wow, we get it there. Nice move higher on silver. Yeah, we're now $1 from this move right there. We're $1.20 in the money. And then on our posted, if you guys are part of it, man, I do this every single day. It's a sticky note, and if you're tired of it, too bad. There it is right here. Go find it, man. There's Apple long 250. There's silver long $150 break, as well as VWAP. So we hit the VWAP first, then we hit that next. Apple comes in. CoreWeave 95 long. You're dealing with CoreWeave right now. And I said, let's look out for some Tesla lows. But Tesla did make a move lower today as well. Yes, silver, man. Yes. So glad that we started trading silver last week, Obi. It's made a big difference there. Tesla might be finding a base. This is the kind of what we're looking for in Tesla. Let it settle down, and then boom goes the dynamite. Definitely a news-based name. Tesla continuing to work higher right now as well. What was that there? Oh, yeah. Fabian is loving SLV. He's telling that in my year. A good pick by my guy Fabian over there to start the year, man. AG he's involved with, First Majestic.
Nice.
We saw, wow. Silver just went again, dude. There goes silver through $100, a 101, sorry. See you later, man. What a banger there for us on SLV. But anyways, nice move there. Let's go back over and see what Obi's doing. We've hit 2 times our goal now, so it's a pretty good day. It's 10:05.
Yeah, another name that I'm watching here, again, I still have BNAI on watch. Watching this 104, this was that breakout level. Again, I think that if we break 104 with some distinction, that will also take out definitely some stops. So maybe potential for continuation. Market still holding near its highs here, but this selling, when Sean was like, yeah, Obi celebrated a little bit, I was just like, just boom, someone slapped the bid there from 106s down to 105s. So I was like, okay, maybe potentially coming back into 104s, and we're holding that 104 right now while BNAI continues to sell off. Absolutely beautiful waterfall here on brand engagement. Again, it had a bit of an extensive move. Maybe if you want to call it a bit of capitulatory action there, maybe in the morning session. I didn't even see what BNAI did in the overnight session. Let's take a quick look there. Oh yeah, no, another one with a straight up and then just flat there for the rest of the session. So we saw that USAR did something similar to that, but USAR pulling back into its lows, but chopping around sideways here. Maybe a held offer at 29 halves. So that's interesting here. If the seller is going to step down and hold 29 halves on something like a USAR, I definitely want to keep that in watch. APLD doing ridiculous amount of relative volume here. Maybe not crazy, but 2 times, 2.5 times, 2 times 2, so maybe not that ridiculous. Those bars look much higher. I was just looking at the bars and I was like, wow, that's pretty crazy. But doing about 2 times, 2.5 times roughly, and breaking out of those pre-market highs quite nicely as well. And holding above. So look at that pre-market high breakout, guys. 39s all the way to 4160s. So pushing quite nicely. Let's take a quick look at gold and silver here as well. Shout out to Sean for that amazing silver position. Gold also, GLD specifically, coming into its pre-market highs here at the same time. But I want to reiterate, when we're trading something like this, you always obviously have to keep a little bit of an eye on the futures, the structure on the futures, because this chart's not going to give you all of the information on some of these assets. So let me know in the chat, what are you guys trading? EVTV saying Sate Javis Sameti. Okay, I hope I pronounced that right. EVTV here, Envirotech vehicles. We saw this one running around, I think it was sometime last week. Yeah, wow, what a beautiful crack on that one. But pulling right back up, $2 all the way to $3 in the 345s in the pre-market session. And I'm noticing, I talked to Sharif about this as well. I'm like, yeah, some of these smaller cap names that do move around like that, like this is a 14 million cap with only about 4.5 million shares that are in the float. How much of that is a free float? I have no idea at the same time, but pre-market session trades much, much better on some of these relative to some of the action that happens on the intraday. So continue to watch that one. Lily saying other zinc. Let's take a watch on Lily and see what that's up to. Wow, what a reversion on this one. Absolutely crazy. Not really doing too much relative volume, but if you saw the puke off of the open, maybe the 1,050 back through is the place to get in. You can see here buyers stepping right back up, maybe some intraday capitulatory action there with the strongest volume candle coming in with that. I don't know, I think people call this a shooting star or whatever, but this one right here, the opposite of a hammer, right?
It's a gravestone.
Gravestone. Okay, so yeah, so definitely longs went to the grave off of the open there, and then on the break of that 1,050, the buyer stepped right back into the opening range highs there, 164. So nice look there on Lily. Let's see what else you guys got going on.
I think it's. I mean, I think that's a gravestone. I call the other one the Doji Star on the top side.
Okay.
So
I don't know. I feel like everybody has like so many different names for them. It's just a candle
you want a
for
coffee
me.
Or anything? And
I'm okay. I'm still sipping on this green tea here.
Of the devil. Here we go.
But yeah, no.
This is a saying, Randy. I don't actually think you're a devil.
Breakfast has arrived.
Oh, Andre just told me breakfast has arrived, but I have no idea what it is. No. Oh, banana would be great. Yeah, thank you. Yeah. You want a banana as well?
Sure. Thank you, Randy.
If there's two there, Randy, thank you so much. Obi. Yeah, it was awesome.
No, I've moved to, not necessarily moved on, but like moved to green tea. So, because it's just, I
heard you last week.
Yeah, a lot of,
it's like half the caffeine.
It's half the caffeine, and it's more of, and it's like a slow drip as well.
Okay.
So if I'm like trying to look for like sustained longer term focus, I'm liking sipping on the green tea a little bit more because the coffee is just like boom.
You know what I realized?
Falls off.
That's nothing. I'm not affected at all by any of that stuff because like over the weekend there, like we woke up Saturday morning, didn't have a coffee, completely like felt fine. I feel like for me, it's a situational thing.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, it's like I'm sitting here, so it's like, you know, in order to talk and discuss and this and that, it feels like, okay, I'm just going to grab a coffee, you know, and it's like, ooh, thank you there.
Very much.
Randy, mine's a little more ripe than mine.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Cold.
Freezing cold.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, our guy was obviously stuck in traffic there. And, everything was a little cold there in the back. But no, I was going to say, for me, it's just, I don't know about everybody in the chat there. Maybe that's a good question we could put up here. Do you need your morning coffee before you trade? Something to that extent, we could get that going. For me personally, no, but I think it's a habit thing. Sitting here, you know, like Neil and I would always like to, you know, have a little bit of a sip of something. And I love green tea. I actually switched over to green tea myself. Like when we go to the hockey games, sort of, you know, like to just have a green tea. I think it's a little bit of a different taste there. But, oh, heck yeah, people in the chat going crazy right now saying they need their coffee before they can hit this market up. And, yeah, that's awesome. I think that's what it's all about, right, is getting some of these, you know, habits and properly forming habits. There's nothing wrong with a couple cups of coffee every once in a while, but I am no medical professional.
Enters you into a flow state a little bit easier as well.
Maybe that's what it is too, right? As silver right now over $1 into our posted level right now of $100.50. Also over $1.40 now in the money on our first $2 in the money now on our first one. All right, Obi, let's handle some business.
All right, so let me ask you this, guys. If someone handed you $1.25 million to trade, would your process change or just your upside? That's the opportunity Funded Futures Networks provides. They're a futures prop firm that gives traders access to large SIM and live funded accounts every day. They've already paid millions to traders around the world with fast same-day and daily payouts. Right now, evaluation accounts are 50% off, buy one, get one free, and no activation fees. You can find the link below or scan the QR code to check it out. All right, so we're kind of holding this VWAP here on CoreWeave. So probably going to be gone from this one relatively soon, but we'll wait and see. We're holding this, stepping down, holding some structures. That 104 hold, quite nice. Again, maybe being a bit defensive because that was the level to buy off of the open, and you can see that aggressive chop that we had off of the open as well. This thing was kind of teleporting almost, you know, $1 to $1.50, almost $2 at times, and then pushed all the way up to 108s, pulling right back into those 104s. Consolidated for how long? It was a pretty tight consolidation for about, I guess, 10 minutes. So hadn't really done any sort of that kind of an action. Now we're breaking out of that consolidation here, breaking back above 3105. This could be a VWAP hold. We could get right back up into those highs. So I am watching it pretty closely. The market continues to push higher here, Sean, as we move on throughout the day.
Yeah, I just took another position.
What's that?
I mean, Tesla might be the right spot. I'm going to take a spot in Nvidia. I'm just going to wait to see if we do bounce off of this 200 period moving average. So we're going to go long, hit the sirens up right now. Look, man, silver, Apple, everything is really working out now. I mean, Apple just went for a little bit of a dip. We're going to wait to see if we can reload that one a little bit lower, but we'll get going on Apple. I'm waiting for 75s to get a piece out, and then we'll try some Nvidia. So a new trade alert here for NVDA, just trying to bounce off of some of those lows. We'll see if we can get out of 10% in the 40s or so, and then another piece, you know, maybe at 50. We'll see if we can get out a little bit up there, and then try to hold against this 186.80 mark. I mean, we bounced off there a couple times. It is your 200 period moving average. Let's see if Nvidia gets okay. Let's see if Nvidia gets a little excited right here. Long at 24s. Normally I offer for a dime, but I'm at 38s right there. So we kind of just went up to us and missed us. So we'll wait for 38s. I don't even know why we're offering up there, but we're going to do that right now. Get out of 5% if we can. Sorry, I have 10% there. 10% there, then 15% at 50s. And then we'll see if we can get going again. We'll take like 20 cents out. That's about our risk on this trade. So far so good to the upside there. And we'll see if Nvidia can sort of get off the bottoms one more time. Coming back in. This is what you guys have asked us to trade today, so thank you for asking us that. And you can go into the chat right now and hit $, and then the name that you're looking at right here. So if you're looking at Tesla, go $, Tesla, thanks to Fabian. Yes, sir, there goes Nvidia, man. Another 15-cent winner, man. That is a chicken dinner winner. Hopefully we're having, my wife made this crazy chicken. It was a chicken soup. Well, she made her own with homemade dumplings last night. Man, those were pretty tasty. Right there. Shout out to Marissa on that one. But CoreWeave, you're already in that one. 92 subs asking for that right now. Intel, wow, down to $43 now for Intel. That is getting absolutely clubbed, man. That's down 25%. No, wait a minute, it's down $12 on 55. So yeah, about 25% there in just over 2 days. So that's been a big movement, 20% in 2 days downside there for INTC. Nvidia, I mean, I just learned from Nvidia. I learned, you got to learn from your mistakes, right? Like Intel was one of those plays where it literally went parabolic. And like I said, man, I was getting questions from some of my friends, and hopefully they're still friends. And I had mentioned getting out of some of my Nvidia, or sort of my Intel before. They were asking me my opinion on that, and I gave it here live on the show as well. Just it looked like it was going a little too parabolic for my liking there, so we were able to exit out of Intel, and now we don't have to worry too much about that trade, but Intel continues to be a little bit of a problem, down 4.5%, trying to find a base. I don't like it. I chose Nvidia there today, but yeah, Intel, not a horrible plan, but not a great one here, looking longer. Looking shorter rather than long here on Intel, down 5%. But yeah, I think there's always something to be said, Obi, about getting rid of shares if you do notice a little bit of a parabolic move. I mean, it's kind of like what you and I do, or especially on your CoreWeave, right? It's too much of an explosion to the upside. Let's see if there is potentially a move back in on the downside to take advantage of that. So
100%, yeah.
Yeah, some good plays happening.
Intel again, like you pointed out, great example of that. Like we pushed up to 50 quite aggressively, and then pushed through 50, 55s as well. And another great example of that, I've been talking about it multiple times today, is that USAR, right? 1 week on the weekly here. Just take a look at this. This was the breakout. What a beautiful push on this one. If you guys positioned in for this breakout here, 18.95s or $19 roughly. You can see all of last week. We broke that out on Tuesday, coming into Friday. Again, only 4 days to trade last week, and closing near the highs, touching that 25 high of week was 25.27s, and that came in with a bit of a gap up here. Now this on the intraday is showing 32s, but here's the thing, you go into the pre-market session and that's all the way up to 40. And this was doing volume. This was doing 50 times. Wow, 69 times I'm seeing in the 4 a.m. Session there. Sorry, the 4 a.m. hour on USAR, 69 times the relative volume, maybe getting to 71 at the highest point there at the same time, and dwindling off a little bit. But that's over 100% within 5 trading days. Not even full trading days, right? So if you're counting pre-market and after-hour sessions, which I always do, if they are, added with volume, it's again, if they have volume, then I'm counting those levels there. But yeah, all the way up to 40 from 19 on Tuesday. So absolutely beautiful move, 100% in 5 trading days. Right now, we got small cap recap with Adara.
Let's start with a name that's rallied at least a couple times through the last few weeks here. EVTV, Envirotech Vehicles. This company is set to merge with Azio AI, as announced again roughly a couple weeks ago. They announced alongside Azio AI that they've reached an execution milestone under their AI infrastructure program. EVTV here with a basically 4.5 million share float, so relatively small float there. Here's AUST. No news on this, but the company's name kind of says it all here. Austin Gold Corp. This is very likely a gold sympathy play for Austin Gold with a $37.5 million market cap, float here of around 7.2 million shares. RVMD taking off right now. Now, I do want to clarify this is not necessarily a small cap per se. It is around a $97 ticker, but I did want to mention this one because of the move it had. This gap down as much as 20% this morning here after the Wall Street Journal reported that Merck is no longer in talks to acquire them. Nice push up here, though, or at least attempt to recover as of right now here for RVMD. So that's Revolution Medicines. Keep an eye as well here on AUST and EVTV. And do remember to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. Back to you.
All right, thank you very much. Yeah, some crazy movers there in the small cap world. Again, the one that I really like didn't really prepare for this one, but was that BNAI, and I want to point out this pre-market low. Look at this consolidation. Oh my God, 51.29s. We could not break. We have some aggressive moves, right? We go pretty much parabolic, all the way from $20 to what is that high in the after hours? 68.10s, and then coming in 4 a.m., you hit a high of 82s. So whoever those buyers were, they weren't finished until the morning session today, and that coming in right off of the 4 a.m. open, that buying pressure definitely dissipates just as fast as it came in. But this consolidation, man, that's what's interesting to me. For over 3 hours in the pre-market session, we cannot break through those lows at 51.29. We come in off of the opening range low, 48.79. So we break it in the first minute of trading here. Even with the halt up that we had, halting up to 51s, that halt opens up lower than the halt price there, below 50. So that halt open is coming in right at 49.92, so can't even get above 50. So if I was watching this one, again, in retrospect, how would I take this? That pre-market breakdown gives me a lot of conviction, even if I miss it off of the open, and that halt up comes in, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's a long. Maybe we're gonna go crazy once again today to the upside, but we open up below 50, getting involved in this consolidation, taking the breakdown here as well through 46s, and then maybe risking up to 50, saying that if this gets back through 50, then I'm pretty much done with it. You can see VWAP, not really a great tool in this scenario, as we are very extended off of that, and sellers very much in charge. And that's what happens sometimes. It's just like when something squeezes. I'm sure BNAI trapped some shorts there for sure that were maybe swinging into this. You can see that squeeze kind of confirming a potential move from short sellers getting kind of rocked there. And then what makes it even more obvious, Sean, is that okay, so that buying pressure that comes in when shorts get squeezed is obviously not necessarily, it's non-random in a sense. So as soon as that buying pressure is done, it's gone. Those were the only buyers. That was the only buying pressure. As soon as that's gone, the bid just drops. There's no more buyers. Right, and that's a great example of that happening here, coming into the open, and then once again the open of the 4 a.m. and then once again the open of the regular session here, as well as we trade much lower. So BNAI, absolutely beautiful on the day today.
Silver is 112 per ounce.
Wow.
Obi, we're $5 in the money on Apple.
Boom.
Our Nvidia trade that we just put on, extending up into VWAP. We're going to empty out the clip a little bit here again on this. So we still have 40%, actually, so we'll have 60% of this trade. Let me get an offer out. Okay, let's take another piece out here at 62. We just took out another piece. I didn't realize how much we had left, actually. Let's take out a little bit more of this as we're at VWAP right now. We were just trying to play it off of that. So far, so good. There you go, another piece out. We can ease back on that one right now. I just put in the chat, like, we got Apple, we've got Nvidia, and we've got silver, and it's basically a perfect morning for me because we had written down here, and I said to Obi, it's funny, Obi, didn't I say to you like a couple minutes before the open, I've got nothing to trade?
Yeah.
I said I've got nothing to trade. Like, there was nothing that was like overly exciting, but then all of a sudden, you know, silver was bouncing off the levels that we wrote down, and it was bouncing off the VWAP, and I was like, you know what, let's give this a go right there. So we tried silver. We had this at 99.60. It's at 101.60. So that's $2 $2 right there just off of our posted VWAP trade. And then all of a sudden Apple, I even said that again to Obi, I was like, you know what, it's right into my level of 250 here. You know, let's see if that does wind up playing or whatever. Sure as hell plays, man. Apple right now, 450 in the money to the upside there. And then Nvidia is a little bit of a trickier one. We had to wait for Nvidia. I only really played this. It wasn't counter to the CoreWeave. It had really nothing to do with Core. Obviously, the action has something to do with that. But I was just playing it off at this level. And you know, now that I see this coming in, you know, with me talking about less conviction, I only have 40% left of this anyways. But this wasn't like one of those trades that was like, oh my God, we got to make this. So let's exit it out. We'll just use this as a stacking entity, and we'll just put a little bit of profit back on, and we won't make this like our huge home run kind of a trade. I just looked over there and saw Brendan. He's already eating lunch.
Whoa.
So lunch has arrived. It came in with the breakfast.
Okay.
So we're still going to wait. It's a very, very good lunch, in my opinion, today.
Okay.
So you're going to have to wait, though, man.
Yeah,
We are now 20 minutes away from figuring out what's for lunch exactly, Obi, and everybody will soon be able to find out what's for lunch, and it should be a good one.
It's good.
It should be a good one. All right, so yeah, so that's what I'm doing on right now. That's a little bit of a look on my stocks. And then, you know, just a look on some of the names that you guys wanted us to talk about. Intel just continues to get clapped. And remember, this is an SSR name. So wow, we had so many shares short of this on Friday, but nothing today. And
some.
There it goes, man, into the outs. Into the downside there. Intel just can't find a base. Doesn't look like it's going to be able to. I don't even want to go. I'm not even looking long on this name anywhere. We said that maybe we hold 44. It does not. What a wealth, you know, creator, but then what a wealth destroyer right here. If you had played options or anything like that, you did not get that bounce. So, you know, ahead of what's going to be big mega cap names this week, I am nervous for a very, very similar move, although Intel went parabolic into the report, which is why, one of the reasons why I chose Apple today, because it was going the opposite. I said, I think this will be the best performing Mag 7 name out of the earnings. And that was nothing to do with earnings themselves, but just with the fact that it's been pulled back so much that it's sort of a good news story waiting to happen. So we did get a pop today about Gemini and about Siri. They released some sort of a new watch band. That turned out not to be anything. So we'll wait to see if this can get going. And then, you know, just getting lighter on all these trades as the day continues. And then looking at LAC, like this is a name that I'm really debating here. I said we got to do a little bit of work on it anyways, but really debating putting something in the old portfolio here for LAC, because this is really pulled back in. And I liked this level breakout. Actually, no, the level breakout was right here. So let's go 575 if we're able to get something down in and around this area for Lithium America. I don't mind that, especially on this deep pullback seen today with investments into USAR by the Treasury. And yeah, they made that investment. It was up 26% or so at the highs, in around 33, 32 bucks and change. Now at its morning low here, USAR, Obi.
Yeah, no, I think someone in the chat was like, I think Control Alt Escape in the chat was saying JPM swing is going to be generational.
Ooh.
And if you look at, and probably long, but it is pushing that 300 level today. Also, I didn't know USAR needed shorts here. We're cracking through day low.
Are you trying to request some?
Yes, please. I'll have the usual. Yeah, no, 300 coming in here on JPM. Let's take a look at this on the weekly chart here and see what Control Alt Escape is talking about. So we did hit that 335 level a couple of weeks ago. That was all-time highs, pulling back into what seems like this is a pretty clean trend here. Are we breaking down this bit of a trend? But bigger picture, yeah, man, this has always been a bit of a generational swing here. If you look all the way going back to 2015, but I think we have some breaking news with Adara.
Alibaba on watch here. BABA pushing higher, releasing its latest AI reasoning model called Qwen 3 Max Thinking. According to the company, this model actually performs better on complex reasoning and agents. So BABA again here with the metrics for its latest model, which is again going to be called Qwen 3 Max Thinking. Back to you.
We do have, okay, we'll look at Alibaba for sure. We bought some at 60s, 160, then we got out at 160, 25% of that position, and now Alibaba continues to move a little bit. Okay, 171. It got up to 178 or so last week, so I wanted to check out some of the action, but it started the day down 1%. So yeah, there it was, 178. So we are definitely keeping an eye there on Alibaba. I just wanted to say, you might have heard Obi ask for 100 shares. So not ask for shares. The price on 100 shares is what I was getting at. Very, very cheap, man. 66 cents. For 100 shares. So for a one lot there, it's 66 cents. So shout out to Real Trading, man. That's another one there, another win there for traders here at Real Trading. Virtually free to borrow. That's 6 cents there, right? So that's pretty simple there. No, less than 6 cents. What am I talking about? It's cost 66 cents for 100 shares. So you make 1 penny spread on 100 shares, that's $1. So this is costing 6/10 of a penny for those shares. So USAR virtually free here at Real Trading. Big shout out to Real Trading. But let's go over to Obi.
All right, guys, millions of concussions, 0 approved therapies. Orogenics, that's OGEN on the NICE, is advancing a new standard with its intranasal brain-first approach to concussion treatment. With an $8.9 billion market on the horizon, Orogenics is positioned to drive what comes next. See what's ahead. Book a meeting today. Yeah, that USAR is coming in real hot. It was funny. I was looking at the day low there, Sean, at 2028, and I was like, oh, this is coming into pre-market lows. Yeah. And by the time I look at it again, we're already at 26s. So that dropped down almost $1 and some change there since then through the opening lows there. 28s down to 26s continuation. So bit of a miss on my part. The thing is, again, preparation. I know this was one of my top names on the day. I didn't realize that I had to borrow shares to flip short. I did have a little bit of a long bias there, but coming into the pre-market, should have known that sellers were very much in charge. And then when we break below this level, I even called it out earlier. I was like, there's a bit of a held offer at 29.50s. Guess what, Sean? It never got above that 29.50 held offer. And now we're trading at 26 halves on USAR. So yeah, definitely longs punching out and sellers potentially pushing in as well on this one. So now I gotta be patient here. I don't necessarily want to chase into these lows as it starts to go, increase volume. I don't know if you call it parabolic to the downside, but definitely strong selling coming into the downside off of the day low break. Almost $1.50 so far. So I'll wait, I'll be patient. It's stepping down. Let's see if I can identify another held offer like that 29 halves, but pre-market lows here on USAR was 27 halves, and that was a nice push in as well. So if you didn't catch 28s, 29, 27 halves was nice as well. And if you identified the held offer at 29 halves, then that was the place to probably take the most, as well as you can tighten up the risk quite nicely when you do get those held offers and held bids. It's just a participant that maybe has a reserve on. I don't know if it was specifically a reserve, but yeah, held offer nonetheless there at 29 halves USAR, trading much lower now. So I'm going to wait for pops to see if we can get that continuation, maybe back into this pre-market low, 27 halves. If it does come up here, I'll be looking for these sellers, which have been dominant since the open, since the pre-market session, to give us a bit of a continuation. I talked about potentially coming into prior day's highs or prior day's close for that quote-unquote gap fill, and that's coming in at 25.27, so not too far away from that. Again, if these sellers are continue to be dominant throughout the day, I do want to stay involved with this one and continue to watch this one here, Sean. So let's see what you guys are talking about. BNAI, we looked at that one. CoreWeave, we're talking about that one as well. Aura Alpha saying CoreWeave triggered long. Yeah, no, good luck with that one. We're holding that 104 multiple times, so that is a solid look there. Save Man Woman saying SLV short, someone hold me. Okay, I don't know.
Not bad. I actually like that play.
Yeah, I think the bigger picture, the buyers are definitely very much in charge, but intraday scalps, I like those as well. Google saying Akayamo. So let's see what Google is up to here.
What the?
Whoa.
I like
is
that.
correct. Straight
like
to the
that.
upside. Look at that, man. Look at some of these holds. Holds breaks out of opening range highs, pulls back into opening range high, holds, breaks this high as well, giving you great opportunities on just scalps on some of these Mag 7s. Let's take a quick look at these other names here. What else is running up in a similar fashion? Now, of course, the SPY's up there as well. Google and Apple, Sean, are the ones. They're the ones that are the strongest. I haven't taken a look at Meta just yet. Let's see what Meta is up to. Okay, Meta's relatively strong as well. 671s. We saw that strength coming in prior day as Friday's open just continues, and we close not necessarily at day's highs. We get to triple sixes going into the last trading hour, and maybe a little bit of a sell-off, but continuation potentially happening here on Meta. What's up, Adara?
In BKR, Baker Hughes, not too much of a move here, but it is worth noting companies saying that they have apparently maintained an ongoing presence in Venezuela supporting oil producers. They said that moderate production increases in Venezuela will require substantial investment. So again, BKR speaking about Venezuela here. We know that the presence of these oil companies in Venezuela has been on watch. So just be aware that these comments are coming from the company's CEO right now. Volume on this is actually quite good, about 3.5 million shares traded so far today. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara. All right, just a quick little update. I just said to Obi, like, why'd I get out of Nvidia? Like, so I thought it was going to break lower here, man. And we kept on sitting underneath this 21 period moving average. It broke through the 50. We started to go this way. So I just got out there at 35 or whatever it was out of everything. That's too bad, but yeah, nice little move higher there. We'll make some money on that, and we'll regroup. Someone said a short silver there in the chat, so I was like, it broke the 50-period moving average. We did absolutely bang up. Like we'll wind up making about a third on this silver trade that we made on our Apple trade, but you know, I didn't expect Apple to go 450. Did I say 450 in the money? How about 5 right now in the money as Apple just continues to extend higher there? I might as well offer it out, man. I didn't even think we're up here. Let's offer out some 86s, see if we get it now. But okay, right back up to day's high again. Apple, don't make me miss that top. But yeah, I thought, you know, upgrade by JP. There it is. Yes, sir. Upgrade by JP Morgan again. You know, I kind of like that talk there and heading into earnings. So it kind of made a little bit of sense for me to trade a little bit of Apple there today. So that's what we did. And it was the #1 trade on the note. Let's check out all the markets here. We do have, oh, here, first of all, the dollar, right? We talked about the dollar earlier today and how weak that's gotten with the strength in silver today, with the strength in oil, in gold and in oil. Yeah, you are looking for a little bit of a move here in SLV and the dollar reacting downside there as well. So we're trying to go a little lower here in the spot dollar for DXY there. US dollar is what I'm trying to get at. Nice move there. So DXY down 0.5%, but we can have a quick little look over here right now and have a quick look to see what these markets are up to right here. This is, again, a little bit of a sector look here, what's hitting, what's not. Oh boy, like Apple just broke through 255, monster move there for Apple. There's Apple up 2.7%, again, an upgrade by JP Morgan there, nice move there. The bank sector trying to get going today. It's Tesla that's sort of on the back of something. I don't know what's going on with Tesla. We'll have a look at that, down 2.5% there. Maybe Adara, you can find if there was a specific story about Tesla. And then in the electronic technology space, Boeing, Intel, Micron, AMD, like some of these names that have been really sort of going a little parabolic, starting to come off today, including Boeing's had a great run, so that's down 1.4% there today, as well as LMT, Raytheon. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. So with TSLA, apparently there are reports suggesting, this was as of the weekend, suggesting that Elon Musk's timeline for China for FSD, which is that he expects there to be approval soon. Reportedly, that timeline not accurate, according to CNEV Post citing government officials. So kind of par for the course for some of these Elon Musk timeline headlines, but either way here, that's the only thing I'm seeing.
In China?
There was a what?
I think there was a military coup in China over the weekend.
Against the current regime?
Yeah, Xi Jinping. He basically got rid of all of his military board or something like that. I got to look more into it, but none of their defense stocks on the Hang Seng really trade on ADRs. So I was just like, how am I really going to take this? But we can take a look at the Hang Seng there at the same time and see what that one's up to. I just remembered. I was like, okay, well, let's see what is going on there? Yeah, strong, maybe strong bid there. Let's go to a daily here and see what's happening on the other side of the world. Okay, so yeah, I mean the chart's very much intact, man. They're pushing for all-time highs here potentially. It's just based off of this trend. 25,000 holds quite well on the Hang Seng, and we're pulling up into some of those highs as well. So let's take a look at what some of these stocks are doing. These ADRs. Baba. Let's see what Baba's up to today. Strong bid. Wow, grinding bid as well all day long. PDD. Let's see what that's up to. Okay, very strong at the same time as well. What was it? What were some other ones there as well? Wow, CoreWeave is finally coming in, but as of right now, we got Sector Watch. So let's see what's going on there with it, Dara.
Yeah, with Baba, guys, as I mentioned a little while ago, what happened there with BABA is they just announced as of probably like around 10:30 a.m. that they have released their new Quen model with max thinking. So that could be that move there in BABA as of the last, 10 minutes or so. Let's talk here about this sector board because it's pretty interesting. We have a lot of strength, but there are some things that are weaker that we should talk about. Let's start here with health services. This sector more kind of mixed than anything, but UNH down almost 2% ahead of their earnings report tomorrow before the bell. The likes of Boeing, RTX, and NOC are also reporting before the bell tomorrow alongside UPS. Consumer durables here, the aforementioned Tesla to the downside, as I just mentioned there. CNEV Post reporting back on Saturday that it looks like Elon Musk's timeline for this FSD approval in China might not be accurate, according to government sources that were not named by the CNEV Post article. We also have electronic technology. There is some strength here with Apple to the upside. Cisco, I believe, caught an upgrade there to the upside. Arista Networks, really strong here, up 5%. But then you have Intel, AMD, and Micron all to the downside. MU kind of pulling back here along with SNDK. As of late, we know that these memory names were strong, but now giving up some of that rally. Intel, meanwhile, down once again after closing 17% lower on earnings day one last week. Tech services, finance, utilities, non-energy minerals with some of these gold plays on watch. They're all going to be really strong today, guys, as well as health tech with some strength. Back to you.
All right. Thanks, Dara, for all that kind of look. Yeah, we're looking at the healthcare spot. I mean, we talked about, someone asked you about Eli Lilly before, so that was a good little name to have a quick little gander at. Apple continues to extend higher there. Our Nvidia trade that we got out of is now into 187, so I'm going to take a bid at 187 using this as my out, 186.80s or so, because that's why we sort of got out in the first place, thinking that this was going to potentially come back in. The futures may have seen a top right there as well. So yeah, this is trying to break through the 50-period moving average again. Was a good out for us on silver, and we sort of were going to talk about it, and we went over to Adara, but I think this short might be working, man. You're starting to turn over right now. What about a short in and around 101 and change for silver? Just flipping it up a bit, right? I mean, as a day trader, you do have the ability to go long and short on our platform anyway. So SLV right there, 101.10 or so, an interesting area for me now on silver as we continue to watch out for this as a potential play now for the short side on SLV. Starting to break down. I know it's very risky. We said we'd try to buy it back to VWAP. VWAP's at $100.10. So we still have a little bit of a move down there as well. All right, the fact that we're $5 in and just extending, the show's almost over. I'm going to take another fill here on Apple and then just try to move on from this. So right now, Apple looking to get a piece out, and we'll see what winds up happening now. Apple, we are long on Nvidia though right now, 187. Let's see where this goes.
Yeah, that 102 price on CoreWeave is the opening price. So we saw that.
Right.
So we're kind of consolidating on top of that right now. So 102's potentially coming in. This 104 was, I think, a great area to add, because I was just like, yeah, that was that hold, that was that breakout. And I was like, okay, well, if we break below 104s with any sort of distinction, then yeah, we're definitely, there are those longs that if I caught the long on top of 104 and I kind of bagged it all the way until here, probably be getting stopped out on that pushback below 104, especially after it consolidates there for over half an hour and holds that low, boom, 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 can't get through 106s. This was nice as well. This entry that I took here just below 106s. I think there was 30K on the bid. And I was like, all right, let's see if this guy can actually push us through 106s. 30K just gets slapped. And I'm like, all right, cool. That's more of what I want to see. Buyers getting taken out, especially size getting taken out on the bid. So showing some signs of maybe seller dominance, and then breaking down through 104. So let's see if we can make any sort of a distinct push below this 102, again, opening price. So we're consolidating a little bit lower. No idea what it's going to do, but we'll see. Market as well. Maybe a little bit of a pull in here. You can see the prior two 15-minute candles. The ES a little bit nicer because you have that double hammer, maybe, if you want to call it. Strong wicks to the upside. So sellers stepping in here. Let's see if they can kind of continue going into the rest of the session. Similar with the Nasdaq, but you had one green candle, one red candle on the 15, but both with decent top wicks there. So maybe the bid is slowing down, is what I'm thinking, and looking at some of the Mag 7 names here. You know, I'm going to be looking for a potential turn on some of these. So Softy, maybe, perhaps. Apple looks pretty strong. Google looks really strong as well, but Apple definitely much stronger than any of the other names in the Mag 7. And yeah, Tesla's just getting slapped though. Tesla is distinctly different, straight to the downside. So not really helping out with any sort of a bid in terms of, you know, playing its part as one of the top constituents. But you know, it is what it is. Sometimes, you know, even the Mag 7s can do their own thing, and that beta is slightly disconnected. There we go through 102s. Let's see if we can get any sort of distinct push below, or do we push right back above? What are some of the pre-market levels? That's what I'm asking here. Wow, USAR, I'm glad I didn't chase into that short below 27s, because we're catching a bid right back above. So VWAP sellers were there off of the open. They were there once again around 10 o'clock. I just got to be patient to see if they show up here, maybe a lower high as well on USAR. Now that I have some of those borrows at the same time. So I was going to look at, oh yeah, CoreWeave. Let's take a quick look at some of these pre-market levels here. Did we mark them off? No, I did not. So not on this specific chart. So let's just go ahead and do that right now. 110 is that pre-market low. This high right here was 103.20. As you can see how we just sliced through that. Pre-market highs was 104. That was a nice opening range high breakout as well, especially if you took the 102s and the 103s. But that action came in real fast there, Sean. So tough luck for me, not really being able to catch that. I punched the 104s, but I think I'm only crossing like 50 pennies through the 104 break. The offer goes to like 104.40s. So I was like, all right, well, that's kind of done. But you know, kind of talking to some of my pod members at the same time and asking them how they took it, they kind of just took the back through, right? Let it chop, let it show you that 104s is holding, and then get involved for the push and maybe take a bit of an ad through that 106 as well for that 108 push. But this is where buyers were off of the open. Let's see what we do with this opening price. Back through open. Another great kind of execution that works every now and then. But let's see if that back through open is coming in with any sort of distinction here as of right now. I do want to point out maybe one more here. I always like some of these consolidation levels that come in right before the open, as you know, sometimes you see it happen where the opening drive that you're looking for happens in the 5 minutes going into 9:30. So almost getting front run there as well. We didn't really see that today. But this is, again, I like that. I like any sort of structure that may be formed, let's say, after going into the open, 30 minutes to an hour going into the open. So 102 is testing right now here. 101.50s is that low. Let's get specific. What is the opening range low on this one here? So opening range low is 101 halves. So let's see what we do with 101 halves. Size was getting taken out on the bid here multiple times, even going in through, I think, what was it, in the pre-market, remember I was talking about this. Somebody bid, was it 101 halves, 50,000 shares, and then 100 halves, another 20 to 30,000 shares. Oh boy, imagine if you were that buyer and you're like, I don't care, I'm getting hit on that buy, big shares, and then you take it into the opening drive, which goes to 108s.
Good discipline holding on to that. Like that was.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get a little bit more, but yeah, like I said, I want to keep it light. I'm willing to spend some risk on a name which is definitely in play today. And the long, like I said, big miss on my part, but I do like reversions, and I did step into it. definitely on the front side of the move, but I did step into more on the right side of the move as well. So which is definitely an improvement of my trading over the years. But we'll see what can happen here. Bigger trend line that I'm seeing, maybe some of this. So VWAP's all the way in and around 104s as well. So that confluence is great because that 104 was key. Now VWAP is 104. So the average long or short potentially is sitting in around, or participants sitting in and around 104s on the day. So we'll see where this goes from here. I'm looking for a potential test of that pre-market low. No idea if it's going to come in. Buyers were aggressive off of the open at these prices. Those buyers could step right back in here on CoreWeave. So where's the next trade? That's what I'm asking. USAR. Again, I didn't have much on my watch list. Like even Sean mentioned earlier, like we were both like, okay, there's not really much.
Yeah.
But you got to wait sometimes and just see what falls into your lap, right? And sometimes there are great opportunities that fall into your lap. Like that 250 Apple long, you were talking about this. It was in a great area on the weekly as well, and we covered that 244 bounce, and we're pushing right back up through 250. And right off of the open, those buyers come in really, really strong. But yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to be patient to see if that bid comes in. Market catching a bid right now as well.
We made the mistake of trying to short silver, so we're just stuck in it right now. We did short at 100, got stopped at $100.20, so take a 20-cent hit. Now we're back into it. I just want to see if silver comes back up, honestly, to 102. So I'm taking less shares here, seeing if we can get away with a little bit of a hold here on silver and bring it back into VWAP for one more test. I just thought, you know, worth it there. We came back in, we bounced off of it. I missed that trade. Should have tried the short there when we broke the 21 period moving average right into there. So that got us out of our trade, then so did the 50. So thought that it was starting to turn around a little bit here. So we're short silver right now at 101.20. Let's see if it winds up working. And then, yeah, Apple still continues. And then our Nvidia is finally starting to work out for us a little bit there. Up in the 30s again. Here we go, man. That was a good trade right there. We got long at a 187 flat, 187.01 there on Nvidia. So we're now 40 cents in the money on this name. So far, so good here into the afternoon trade. It's only 10:50 though. Let's go over to Adair and find out all about that US dollar. We talked about it a little bit. It's Money Talks.
What I want to talk about is not the fact that the US dollar is falling, which it is. I want to talk about maybe why it's falling. So we know that we did, of course, have these ongoing geopolitical tensions. We have the gold and silver being viewed as safe haven plays, and I've seen some sources attribute that kind of safe haven gold and silver push to the weakness in the dollar. But the main thing that I'm seeing is pretty interesting. Apparently what happened is on Friday afternoon, which is when the selling really began, it came out that the New York Federal Reserve conducted a rate check with currency traders with regards to the dollar and Japanese yen exchange rate. Now, apparently this type of move, it's pretty rare, and it implies that the U.S. Federal Reserve might be considering coordinated action with the Bank of Japan to support the yen. So again, of course, this is all speculative, but that is what I am seeing as the reason for this decline here in the U.S. dollar. So be aware, pretty interesting stuff here. I do also want to mention one of the bigger catalysts that we're going to have on watch here this week, beyond earnings, from an economic perspective here, the interest rate decision from the U.S. Federal Reserve on Wednesday is certainly going to be worth watching here. And it is worth noting pretty much 100% of participants at this point, 97.2%, expecting rates will be held in place. 2.8% expecting that we are going to get that 25 basis point cut. But again, very likely we will get rates held. Furthermore, there's been some speculation here just based on Fed comments and very likely reflected, as you can see here, in the rate tool as well. We're not really likely to get a cut until later in the spring. At the March meeting, we are not expecting a rate cut either. So interesting stuff. We'll have to see if these rate cut odds change for, sooner or later once we get that FOMC press conference with Fed Chair Jerome Powell at 2:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, and back to you.
All right, thank you, Adara. So interesting talk there. Based on, it's obviously that 97% chance that we're not going to get any kind of a movement on the Fed. So I think if you're, thinking about positioning, look at the dollar, look at how that's moving. The rates should be and remain, the same there on Wednesday. We'll hear what Jerome Powell has to say, Obi. That's the most important time, like when he gets on the mic at 2:30, because, rates stand. You want to see how many of those members dissented. And then obviously, if there is questions about his future, what does that look like as far as his replacement, so on and so forth. All right, I have a new position right now, LAC. made the bottom into $6, gave us that $6 fill right there. Now we break above the 21 period moving average, trying to break above. If we come over to the chart right there, trying to break above the 50 period moving average, we'll start to trade a little earlier right now on lithium and see if it gets back to the upside. Why? Because USAR is finally starting to bounce as well. So USAR now looks like, I don't know, might have found a bottom there. We know that the government takes a stake there, the Treasury, so we're going to wait to see if there's a little bit of a bouncing play there. I choose LAC right now, you know, looking to break through, and then if we can get back up here into 30s or so, that'll give us like that 1-to-1. So here it goes right now. Nice little play on LAC here to close out the show. We're going to offer something out. We do have a decent sized position, so let's offer out a little bit here at 24s, and then we'll see what's going on. But I already said to you that we're going to figure out what's for lunch. Lunch came early there, and it was been pretty good. I'm going to go find the exact. I don't know if I have the menu though. Oh, there it is. Okay, I did see it today already.
Okay.
So I already know what it is. This is a little bit of a cheat because I went back there. I saw, like I mentioned, I saw Brendo crushing the lunch there. So it is out right now. And today we have Joseph. This is going to give it away.
All right.
It's a Jamaican flag.
Okay.
We've only ever had one Jamaican dish, I feel like, around here. All right? And it's you know, the authenticity of it, you know, it's not super spicy, anything like that. Well, I've never found it. Maybe that is to be questioned. I mean, Adara over there, I heard her there. Spiciness is in the eye of the beholder. But today's lunch with a Jamaican flag is, of course, jerk chicken. So that's a good one. So we'll hit bang on that. I think that should be pretty tasty. Wait for an update to see how this goes down. Is Jamaican jerk chicken with, get this, Joe, Jamaican cauliflower.
You're making me hungry.
This is Jamaican me hungry. With chickpea curry, rice and peas, of course, and a little coleslaw. You got to have coleslaw on the side of your jerk chicken, that is for sure. So shout out to that. That's what's for lunch, and it really sounds pretty tasty today on the jerk chicken front. I missed it last time. We won't miss it today. Jerk chicken. Getting people excited, and myself included, around these here places. So thanks, Obi, for filling in today as Neil works on shoveling, I guess, and he'll be in, as far as I know, tomorrow. So that should be a good one there. You've only made that one trade today, and it's been a good one, right?
I mean, initially it was a little sticky, but it's all right. It's starting to work out now. I'm looking for, like I said, I'm watching. I've kind of, you know, charted the stock, charted the territories here. These were uncharted waters on CoreWeave, but now we have some direction, maybe some levels here that potentially we are holding, right? We are holding some of these pre-market levels with some distinction. That 104, I think that was very, very key. Let's see if we get back above 104. I'm just glad I have an average above 104s on this crazy chop. Definitely can be doing a little bit better taking this breakdown here. I think this breakdown of that 104, if I'm gonna say it multiple times over that was key, then you know, have an edge A, have an order in, just take this wick low breakdown here as well. Like, what was that? Let's get specific. 103.77s, right? So I have to be involved there. It's almost unacceptable not being involved at that breakdown and getting the size in, being like, all right, this has a stronger likelihood in my perspective to go a little further now into some of these prior levels that we've seen in the pre-market session. But it seems like we're slowing down here a little bit. And the market, we were talking about the market potentially catching a bit of a pullback. But this current 15-minute candle with about a minute left to go, strong, right back up, breaks through those prior highs, those prior wicks, means absolutely nothing. And that's the beautiful thing about the market. Even though the candles and the chart is telling you whatever, it doesn't take much to change the probabilities, right?
Yep.
Anybody can step in and be like, hey, boom, watch this. and then move some of the stuff around as well. But that's the beautiful thing. So I love kind of dancing with the price action as those probabilities change and move around at the same time. But hopefully you guys have had a solid morning session here. We're about to give it up to the midday crew here with Joe's back.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Back
show.
again.
Yeah, we're ready to go there. Joe's going to be killing it. We'll see what he's trading a little bit there as well. We're still on the backside of silver right now, trying to see if there's a move down. I mean, just go right into the day's high. So we're short right here at 50s. So not great. We could have, it just went down into 65 there. We could have actually went to 58s there. So it did come right back in just a couple seconds ago. So let's see right now. We are at a record high for silver. So we've been there all day. We did have a great long. We did lose it a little bit on the short right there, in and out quickly, but now we've averaged up into this trade, and now we'll wait to see where it goes. And obviously a break there of 102, and we can get out of there. We don't have to worry about it. Nvidia is really working to the high side as well. But yeah, thank you again, Obi. A great show over there. We're going to watch, these guys are going to be watching out for the US dollar. Stock like Move has halted a couple times. Another big one there, there goes Nvidia. Nvidia just tanked to the downside right there. So I'm not sure if there's a little bit of news right there, but there it is, moved down right now.
Oh, yeah. That definitely looks like news. With that
I don't know what's going on there, but that was a decent swipe. The largest, I'm trying to hear. There is something in my ear. Don't know what this is about right here, but OpenAI, I don't know. We're gonna get the story, but OpenAI and Nvidia, I don't know. We'll get the story in a minute, but it's a nice move to the, it's Microsoft. Something about Microsoft over here. All right, yeah, we'll wrap this up. Thank you for watching. We're gonna go to Adair, then back over to the midday guys. All right, good show. Go get it, Adair. She's got the story.
Microsoft reportedly